All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast number 263 with Hoyt. Hoyt, how are we doing today?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Sater?
Pretty good. Really excited. We have a lot to talk about today. I think we're mostly going to be covering a lot of minigame stuff. This is, I feel like, a topic I don't really dive super deep into, but according to, the things I've seen, and we have like a full Word doc of just like some brief like overview of what you would like to see personally from minigames. I'm very, very excited today to talk about that, and probably a lot of other things as well. In fact, I will start off just with an introduction of who you are, because you have just started your own podcast called Raids Bank Podcast. So I will let you take the mic and just kind of explain a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing lately.
Yeah, thank you. And first off, thanks so much for having me. Big fan of the pod, and I actually have a little surprise for you. I have a drink in front of me that you've told people to try that I'm very skeptical of, but I have a quarter of a cup of extra creamy oat milk.
Chobani?
The Chobani oat milk.
Okay.
And a Juneberry sugar-free Red Bull. I am a sugar-free guy, so
Hell yeah.
I try to at least. Yeah. So I'm about to take a sip. Let's see.
Yeah, you stirred it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, I see.
This is important for everybody to know.
What you're doing here. This is a big thing on the West Coast. I'm a Midwesterner, so I was a little skeptical. I like it, though. The Juneberry is kind of weird, but yeah, it's like a blueberry milkshake, like you said.
Yeah. It's if you add a little, I think I've said it in previous episodes or previous rambles, wherever I talk about this kind of stuff, adding a little splash of coconut syrup. I just get like one of those Torani syrup things, and just a little splash of the coconut just kind of livens up the oat milk vibe. And it's great. I always put a ton of ice in it too, so it just stays very chilled.
Oh, I forgot those two steps, but I just poured it right before we pressed record, so it is still fresh. But
all right, give it a rating.
It's good.
1 through 10. What do you think? You can be honest.
I'll give it an 8.
Oh, hell yeah.
It.
We'll take
I'll glaze it.
We will take that.
I don't know if I'll do it again, but I like it. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's I feel like it's sort of a temporary thing. To be completely honest, I have not been doing my like little Red Bull lattes. That's what I've been calling them lately. And I don't know, there's just something more refreshing lately about just the tartness of a normal Red Bull. And maybe like
I'm a purist.
Yeah, I
which
feel
we'll get into. I have a lot of hot takes because I'm a purist with many things, but I do support it. But to answer your question, my name is Hoyt. I am a co-host of the Raids Bank podcast. We just started August 1st or like July 31st. We're on episode 16, I think. So we do every single Monday, and I co-host that with Heartless, who is formerly on another podcast, and Poplo, who is from Oblivion. He's a pet hunter. He's the resident GM. Heartless is a Giga endgame Iron. He's got like every item but Scythe. He's got 2 Ellies, 2 T-Bows. Crazy account. And then I am kind of the little brother of the team. I'm kind of the skiller. I'm an almost maxed ironman at 2270. And then I am, I'm just the resident skiller. I like PvM. I've done like 400 raids, but I'm just in there with the hot takes. I'm very much like a clogger completionist. And without going too much in the deep end, I've been playing this Iron since 2021. Been playing OSRS since like 2019, so I was pretty late on the train. I was playing other MMOs like WoW, and I did play, of course, growing up from like 2004 to 2009. I played very much casually, but I'm 29 now, so I was probably, I think second grade or so when I started that. That's just a little bit about me.
Very nice. Do you think you'll max before sailing drops?
No, I have a rule. I don't have Infernal Cape. I'm really ashamed to say, because I don't have Rigor yet.
You don't need to be ashamed about that, man. But I mean,
No,
if
I
it was
don't
5 years
need to.
ago, you could have been ashamed about it. But times have,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the tides have turned. It's not as big of a deal.
No, I don't want to max fire cape. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just don't. I want
Yeah.
to push myself to get Infernal before max cape. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of my reason. The other reason is it's just bad timing. I think if Sailing came out in like January, I could do it easily, but I have like, 5 smithing levels, 2 agility, and 2 prayer. I just don't feel like rushing it, but it's only like 40 hours. It's like
Yeah.
nothing.
That is funny. I guess actually, let's just start this off with your take on Sailing, I guess, because it is coming out so soon. We are 10 days away from it at this point.
Yes, dude, I'm so excited. I have like the kid the night before Christmas effect where I'm just like every night I'm just like thinking about it. And honestly, I wasn't that excited or I wasn't this like interested until the Figment Sailing prep sheet came out. And for some reason that just like lit a fire in me to like now I'm literally like mining rune right now. I've never mined rune in my life, but that's the only thing I'm like kind of missing from the whole prep sheet. So have you been doing any prepping? Are you doing it on your new account? Of course. But
I've done a bit
really.
of prep, just some recent blast furnace, just making some bars. I haven't made like the nails or whatever we need to make at the moment. And I'm not going to be rushing Sailing per se. I still am also undecided whether I'll be logging into Sae Bae, my main iron, and grinding like passively, maybe doing salvaging AFK while I play on another account, because I really have not been playing Sae Bae actively for about a year and a half. But I feel like there's just going to be one more reason to not play it if I log in a year from now and I haven't even touched Sailing and I'm one Sailing, no max cape, everyone else has theirs, and it would be just one more reason to not play it, because I feel like with enough time there will be a part of me that wants to return to Sae Bae. But right now I'm just really enjoying Squat Cam, and so I feel like there might be a part of me that just grinds Sailing quite passively on this account and doesn't necessarily rush it, because I'm not trying to reobtain a max cape on this account.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun for you, I'd imagine, to like progress through the game with this new skill, which I won't get to experience because I'll be like, I'm full sending a rush, not because I have any chance at like ranks or I want it, but because that's fun to me to like to min max to see how fast I can get it. I took like 3 days off work. So once Monday hits the following week, I'll be back to casual status and, the train will have stopped. But it's really fun, like once in a lifetime opportunity to like try to get 99 early in a skill. But yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like for like early mid game irons to have Sailing in their tool belt. It'll be cool.
I'm excited to see all the series pop up out of nowhere on YouTube, just Sailing only accounts or whatever else. I even had an idea for myself. I don't know if I'll actually execute on it, but maybe months down the line, a sort of snowflake idea would be to max, but to always have Sailing be your highest skill. So you're really implementing like Sailing throughout your whole journey, and you can never have a skill go like above what Sailing is. It's kind of just like a very mild restriction, but it keeps Sailing like the focal point. And I don't know, kind of fun.
I have I've never told anyone this, but I'm willing to let it air out in public. I have a snowflake idea I think is goated. You want to hear it?
Oh yeah? Are you sure you want to leak it? This is it might be bad.
I do, because
might be a bad
I'm too
idea.
addicted to this account. I don't think I'll ever.
All right, somebody's gonna take it if it's that good. Let's hear it though.
That's fine. I kind of want to watch it. All right. So if you go on the wiki and you go to the collection log, as of like 8 months ago or so, they now have a table, and you can sort it by completion percent. So the very first thing is like Market Grace is the most completed collection log. And at the very bottom is like third age pick.
Oh, interesting.
I want to make a snowflake where you have to get them in order of, of most popular to least. But the caveat is you only have to be going for Market Grace. If you happen to get Squirrel, that's fine. As long as you are it's kind of an honor system. You have to actually be going for a market grace. And then the next thing could be like an easy clue item, something like that. So you have to go until you get the specific one, but if you get other logs on the way, that's fine. It just makes your journey that much shorter.
Yeah. Interesting. That's a cool idea. I mean, clogging definitely is the future. It's the present as well. But I know a lot of people are kind of hooked on the collection log series lately. So it's a brilliant idea. That's cool to know that there's like a whole wiki page of all of them.
I use that. We do game shows on the final 30 minutes of our podcast. We do like a game show usually. It's a surprise. Everyone picks something different. But I used that page, and we played a game a few weeks ago of like which one do more people have unlocked, the T-bow or this other item, and it's pretty cool to look at. Definitely, check it out.
Nice. I want to touch briefly on your experience with Brighter Shores. I haven't even heard that game's name in the last year, but it looks like here you put in over 1,200 hours, it says here. So can I get a little bit of your opinion on that whole game?
I'd love to, dude.
And are you still playing it as well?
I am. So they have these seasonal events, of course, just like RuneScape had, where you can get like the Halloween and Christmas items, and they're one time only. So I'm kind of doing that just in case the game is good in like 5 years. But I love the game because I love AFKing things on a second monitor. And if you just see Brighter Shores as like a Shooting Stars equivalent, but in a different game with different stats in a different world, with different art, I think like you'll love it. But the game is egregiously dead. I mean, I love Andrew Gower and what he's built for us and like our childhoods. But it's just been like mismanaged. I don't know. I don't even want to disparage it because I do believe in it, but I did quit quite a few months ago, like for good. Like I'm not building my account more. I'll just log in and do maintenance stuff if I feel like it. But I just see it as like a Shooting Stars in the corner because there's very low APM stuff you can do. And it's just cool to have like a different world to kind of learn about. It's like totally new when you feel like you've learned a lot about RuneScape. And it has a cool ecosystem. It's not as well intertwined as RuneScape is, where, you know, you woodcut and then you can fire make or fletch. Like they're kind of missing like the skills tying together that well. It's similar in RuneScape though. You might fish, but it's more, I'm just making something up. It might be more efficient to buy raw fish this other place. So then the fish that you end up catching, like barb fishing, for example, you don't ever, some people make, Barbarian mixes, but I think Brighter Shores has that problem too, where you'll fish something and never end up actually using it. Because when you go to cook something, you'll end up buying it from a vendor. But I do love the game, but there's a reason only 100 people actively play it now.
Is there only 100? Oh God.
No, they peak at like 300, but 300 online at one time.
Yeah.
During a given week.
Oof.
So like right now as we're speaking, there's probably like 150 people playing.
That is rough. I mean, I understand Andrew Gower is worth like $600 million, I think the last time I checked. So it's
crazy.
Not like he needs money, but I do feel like to some degree, any human that is working on a project for over 10 years would be basing a lot of their fulfillment maybe on how the game is perceived by others. So even though I want to just believe he sees it as just a pure passion project and he's fulfilled in it alone without the numbers, I do feel like there's probably a part of him that, I don't know, sort of feels bad that it's not performing better. Who knows? I just don't feel like he's that kind of guy, though, that really cares if his game is doing super well. I mean, RuneScape was just pure good timing and luck. And I mean, he did create an insanely beautiful game, honestly, like RuneScape. But I don't feel like his intention was like, I need to make a game that pops off. It just happened to be that way. And
It's a happy accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a shame like Brighter Shores doesn't have that. Honestly, I think a lot of the adjectives about the game and stuff can just be described as bizarre. Like, just the combat, really bizarre. RuneScape was really rudimentary though, and then we found ways to make the combat really interesting, and the game evolved. But if you go back and look at RuneScape Classic, right, you stand there in place, you can't flee. Um, I would actually say Brighter Shores is extremely similar to RuneScape Classic. Um, and also in RuneScape Classic, there's a lot of annoyances like you couldn't bank all; you could only bank 5. I didn't play Classic, but I believe that was like a common thing. And then the spell book, you could never autocast. You always had to click spell book, click spell, click player. So it's like 3 clicks per action. Brighter Shores has the same exact problem. Every time you want to attack a mob, you have to click 3 times, not just once.
And so aggressive for no reason.
It's bad.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm thinking. It seems as though, again, somebody that hasn't played Brighter Shores, but I saw the first couple of weeks of people playing it and seeing these same issues being talked about by Jimmy and others on YouTube, for example. It just feels like, is Andrew Gower playing this game? Like, does he understand how annoying this can be? Does he not care? Does he see it as part of the charm of the game to some degree, or part of the difficulty? Like, I don't get it, because it feels like it would be so easy to see from an outside perspective, just clean this up and make it as convenient and, I don't know, streamlined as possible.
Yeah, he does play it, but in a game so passive as that, he has a respectable account, like the equivalent of like a mid game or something. Nothing crazy, but he plays. But I do just wonder what he's focusing on a lot of the times. Like, combat has definitely just been ignored, and that would be, well, it hasn't been ignored, to be fair. So the game works in chapters, which is weird, but imagine the RuneScape's, skill panel being divided in 4. You can only do construction in this chapter, for example. And combat used to be divided in 4. So you had basically in one chapter you do melee, and the next chapter you do like hand-on-hand combat. Like, I'm just making things up, but it'd be slightly different. They reworked that, so you just have one combat skill, which is great. But the combat itself is still stand there, wait for your character. And the scaling, this is the worst part of the whole game, is he made the scaling perfect. Like, as you level up, the enemies level up with you. And that's honestly one of the biggest flaws, is you never feel this sense of like achievement, of like power creep, of like, getting a shadow and full Bis Mage and just one-shotting everything in sight. You never feel that, because they're like, well, now that you have the shadow and full Bis Mage gear, we're going to make every enemy take the same time to kill. And it's just bizarre.
So bad.
It's so bad. I don't get it.
It very much reminds me of Nightmare release, where they decided, I mean, there's several other examples of this stupid philosophy in my eyes, is when you do a 5-man Nightmare, I'm talking normal Nightmare, and then you do an 80-man Nightmare, it's basically the same amount of time you're spending, because they ramp up the scaling. So Nightmare has like 20,000 HP. And it's just like, dude, can we please not have the fight feel identical from 5 to 80? Like, the whole point of bringing in more people is to just annihilate this guy. Why are we making the fight feel exactly the same in all these scales?
Yeah, World of Warcraft had a very similar problem. I played that really competitively for a decade, and every expansion they would try this new scaling thing where you go back to the starter zones, but this time they're year level, and it's like, no one wants this. We just want to like run around and kill goblins in one hit when we're end game, because we earned it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a core part of the MMOs. But to keep things interesting, I understand why developers are tempted to like use it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so things that you've been up to lately. This is another little bullet point I'm seeing here. You have been learning some Toa solos. That's a mistake already. I see the solos. I want to talk about Revenants with you, and I guess we already kind of touched on the sailing prep, but yeah, let's hear about your Toa experience. Why are you trying to learn solos?
All right, so I have this character trait. I surround myself with people who are much better than me. I'm very good at that. It's a strength. It's a good thing to do, but it can bring some bad habits. So I have 150 expert TOAs because I have these endgame buddies who are like, come on, just come on the 450 with us. Come on, just come. It'll be fun. I die in multiple rooms. I'm not having fun. And I get the KC, but I don't learn anything.
Mm.
I have great friends. They're very good people and they mean well, but I don't learn. So my way of learning is like, I'm going to go solo so that I can actually learn the mechanics. If I get stuck somewhere, I know exactly what I need to improve, but good God, is it pain. Also, I'm in like a, I'm in like an in-between living situation. I'm saving up to buy a house. So I have bad internet right now. It's a little bit better. I bought like as many things on Amazon as I could try to fix it, but doing 40 minutes and then doing Insanity, at P3 Wardens and dying because my clicks are like really like, I'd say like sticky. There's like packet loss or something. It's just the most frustrating thing on earth. But I have been getting some deathless 300s with Insanity. It's been good, but I'm egregiously dry, dude. I have no purples and over 170 TOAs.
Oh God.
Yeah, nothing.
Dude.
And it's hard to say, like, I know a lot of it's because of my deaths, but even at a 0.5%, like, I'm unlucky.
Yeah.
So
that the internet issue that you're talking about has got to just be the most tilting thing of all time. Hopefully that gets resolved when you move, because holy shit,
temporary.
And there's nothing you can really do. I mean, the fact that you're dying, getting packet loss, like there's a reason why this raid is difficult, and even more difficult than it should be, because having internet issues or even hardware issues. I've seen people try to play on a monitor that's like 60 hertz. I don't know if that's the case for you, but like refresh rate is there's a big deal even with RuneScape, where normally it only caps out at 50 frames per second. It still matters because you'll see your mouse move more accurately, more precisely. And like right now, like I have a 240 hertz monitor, and the difference is so stark, but especially compared to 60 hertz. But even jumping from a 144 to 240 was a pretty noticeable jump. I feel like at this point, jumping to like a 360 at some point might not feel as significant. But man, I see people using shitty mice that don't have a good sensor. It's wireless. They're using Wi-Fi, getting packet loss. They have mouse acceleration on. Their screen resolution is fucked. And I'm just like, holy crap. Yeah, and then they don't have all the good plugins that other like high-end gamers are using. And it's honestly sort of sad to some extent how much people will be frustrated with PvM when it feels like just a lot of little fixes could improve their experience drastically.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Pluginscape, but first the Hertz thing. So I've got like a Giga PC I built last Black Friday, so it's like a year old now. And I've got like a 144 hertz monitor. But as of 2 years ago or so, you can unlock your frame limit with the GPU plugin, and with HD, there's a checkbox. Make sure it says unlock FPS. The game will render more than 50 frames per second, and you can tell when you move your camera, just like you move your mouse. So there is a huge difference. Some people are like, yeah, but it's not only your mouse; it is the visuals of the game and how immersed you are, like in the warden's room. You can just see the animations even smoother because they'll calculate the frames in between. So yeah, that is a big shout. I've got the hardware. I just lost. I was on fiber for 2 years, and then I just moved back home for a short stint, and now I'm on the Wi-Fi with an extender.
Oh God! So you've experienced fiber, and now you're back to. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yes. Dude, that's good motivation to buy a house and get out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
That's the biggest. I was literally Googling like how to fix internet. I will spend any amount of money without like having, the people come out here and reroute something to where my computer is and crap. But,
interesting. That sucks. What about Revenants?
Yeah, I do. I want to talk about the plugins real quick.
Go for it.
Because with this game, they are big, but they're very accessible and quick. But again, I came from like WoW back in 2019, 2020, and WoW is like they're going through this really big problem with plugins where they've become mandatory to the point where WoW has these world first teams. That's like their Super Bowl is when a new raid comes out, people will race to world first, just like we do, but much longer. It's usually like a week long of these guys just degenning with sponsors and 25-man raid teams all in the same building. It's crazy. But those teams have a full-time employee to make plugins for them on the fly so that they can kill bosses. That's like how much the game has, veered off this deep end. And I don't think RuneScape will get there. It's not a big concern, but it is something we need to keep pulse of, and something Jagex has been doing a pretty good job. But
Okay, that's fair. I feel like I would almost agree with you. It feels like Jagex does a good enough job. I understand we've gone pretty much off the rails when it comes to plugins. If you look at where those guardrails were 5 years ago compared to now, it's completely night and day. But ultimately, I see plugins as a super net positive, even though there are some downsides to them. I mean, I remember the super purists years back that would actively talk about, they would want to see a game without any plugins. And I'm like, no. Leaving it up to Jagex to improve their client without any competition. So like right now they are trying to improve their client, but it's based on how far ahead RuneLight is. I mean, they can grab data from how, like what the best RuneLight plugins are, completely just copy it over basically. I mean, I don't know what the coding process is, but like if it wasn't for a nice system like RuneLight, I mean, we would be in the dark ages still, and it would be a very painful experience. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would be like to play on the very old vanilla server that didn't have any of the plugins that we have, like on the Steam client and mobile client or anything. If looking back, again, 5 years ago or something, that vanilla client, whenever RuneLight was down and there was a new update, holy fuck, I would not play. I just would not play. It's just it's unbearable.
You just play a different game.
Yeah. So go to sleep. Yeah. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. It's that is rough. I was gonna add something. I forgot what I was gonna say though. So, you mentioned revs.
Yeah, because you've been doing some solo TOAs, trying to learn that. Sounds like you're also been doing Revenants. How's that going for you?
Yeah, so I was very scared of the wilderness for years because I wasn't scared of it. I'm very big into the flow of the game, which is why I'm a big into skilling. I love falling into this flow where time flies by and the trance music is blasting and I'm just clicking in a rhythm, and like that's why I play this game. And the wilderness is not for that, right? You get interrupted. There's people, I've never really encountered people who were toxic yet, but I finally went out and did Revenants, and man, was I amazed at just how straightforward it was. I've only been doing Knights Sculled on task, so I don't know if that's the right way to do it. My co-host Heartless was telling me to do Orcs, I believe, but I loved it. I did go 3 times rate for any drop, and I got the Thamron Scepter at like 1600 Revenant Knights Sculled on task. But yeah, I'm really excited to use it. I either wanted that or the crossbow, but it is kind of a shame the Revenant weapons, like what state they're in. I was even looking at where I could use the Thamron Scepter. I had the Skull of Vedion ready for it. It's like Yama, only if I mage, but I'm gonna probably Dono Fly. And then Whisperer, which I won't do until I get a Shadow. So, Lord knows when that'll be. I don't know. Where else do you use? I know crossbow, you use the spec at Leviathan.
Yeah.
But besides that, like I already have my Voidwicker. I got lucky on that. But,
oh, hell yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the Thamron Scepter helps with the wildy bosses most likely, I would imagine, like RDO. using it there if you didn't
Yeah.
have a crossbow. So yeah, but the fact that you already have a Void Waker, yeah, I can't really say other than just Wildy Slayer if you're planning on getting full Dagon High at some point or whatever else. Any wilderness weapons, obviously. I think Thammer Scepter is probably the most annoying with it. I don't know, maybe even the Mace, just because you kind of are based off of your strength gear. Whereas if you get a crossbow, you just wear like a Anguish or a Salve or whatever you're using, and you basically have like full DPS because you're not generally bringing Masori out there. But it feels like every strength upgrade with a Mace matters because it's just getting exponentially increased.
Yeah, I know the Scepter's great at Wildy Slayer because you can barrage with it and just hit like, I don't know, I think he said 56s or something like that. Some huge numbers with it. But I don't plan on going for Dagon High anytime soon. I will eventually. I love clogs, but I mean, that's like late, in game. So,
yeah. Well, again, it's like it's there, you have it. And if you ever went for Wildy Pets as well, you could also use that. So, because it's going to be amazing at Scorpia, I think.
Really happy I got it. I didn't want the Mace because I already got the Void Waker, which I do have to tell you, my Void Waker journey is pretty humorous. So I put off the Void Waker like until recently when I wanted to go to Toa, which again, this is like very late in my account for other people's standards. So I finally go to the wilderness. I say, I'm going to get my Void Waker. I start off at Vedion, and I go to rate for the Void Waker blade. I, have a lunch break at work where I can play. So I'm doing a couple kills on my lunch break. I telly to Edgeville because it's time to go back to work. And as I'm talking to Cristelia, because I was like wilderness skipping with tasks, I see a collection log pop up for a Void Waker blade at Cristelia.
My God.
So I'm like full adrenaline pumping. I'm like completely, my brain is shorting out. I'm like, what's happening? What is happening? I don't know what's going on. So you have 60 seconds to go there before the loot shows up. What had happened was I was attacking Vedion, which is a multi-boss, not Calvarion, and I got jumped by a PKer, and I ran out, made it successfully out, but I had done some damage to Vedion. A bot ran in, because this was right before the bot ban wave recently, and we were hitting record numbers, and bots were really bad at Vedion. A bot ran in, instantly started attacking Vedion, took the world, killed Vedion, and since it was a bot, the second that pink beam was on the ground, that bot clicked on it, and it was gone.
No.
So I didn't make it there in 60 seconds because...
no.
Yeah, so I just, it's just like everyone's worst nightmare. But thankfully, I got the rest of the Void Waker spoon to me. I went half rate for the gem, and the hilt was completely spooned, and I got a second blade spooned. So it worked out for me, but it was just that nightmare scenario.
Yeah. Sheesh.
I was gutted, dude. Like, I was physically ill the rest of the day.
Oh, dude, I totally...
Like, oh.
I was just mentioning this actually on the last, Say More episode, but when I was... The question was, what was your biggest OSRS blunder? And what came to my mind was, this is, again, 7 years ago, back when there was no pet protection, really. If you lost your pet, it was over. But I got a Callisto Cub on stream. This is 2 weeks into streaming, 2019. Oh. I get the Callisto Cup. I managed to escape out, and I forgot to insure it, and I ended up dying to a Mithril Dragon on task.
Oh!
And I just completely had forgotten, and one of my chat members was just like, hey, did you insure your pet? And I completely became like a ghost. I just lost all blood flow in my head, and I'm like, no. And it was like you said, just that pure depression for the next 24 hours. I could barely sleep. I was like, fuck, I have to regrind this. Just the worst feeling of all time. Just knowing it could have been prevented so easily.
Yeah. And that was pre-collection log?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is pre...
Yeah, way before.
No, sorry. It wasn't pre-collection log. It was after collection log, but because, I think collection log was 2018. But
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be able to get it back, and there was no news of
gone.
you getting the pet. I did end up just grinding the pet again, and I got lucky.
Really?
Yeah, but
Nice.
because I think I got the first one at like 900 something, and then the second one was like 1600. I was like, okay, like because it was 1 in 2000. So again, kind of like a similar situation to you, where it feels like you could just go endlessly dry now. Like you had your luck, but I got spooned again. So hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget. This is a classic one. I think a lot of people know someone this happened to, but my buddy got the Zora pet and died to poison like two seconds after. And back when they just were gone.
Yep.
So I bet if you like pulled the stats on how many pets were lost, I feel like Zora's got to be top 3. Like it's got to be, just because people are risking it and they're always just venomed, and that venom's ticked up pretty deep.
Yep.
Oh,
No, you're
I'm
totally
so glad
right.
they fixed that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of quality of life we need. It's not easy escape either. It's just being a reasonable human being.
Yeah. No, it straight up is. Like our whole culture of this game for so long was just like masochism is what makes this game good. And I'm like, no, it's not. We're deceived. We don't need to
Dark
just
Ages.
have just misery being a part of the game to make it feel like old school. It's like, oh God, we can get rid of all that stupidness, especially like the pet reclaims. Like if you lose a pet, pay $1 million to get it back. Are you fucking kidding me?
I do have to say, like, part of what I love about skilling is the perseverance of something masochistic and like completing it. Like, 3-tick 4G to 200 mil. Like, well, that's a bad example because that's actually a really, really hard method to do. But I like skilling because it's completing a goal when like your body is telling you this isn't worth it. This is a game, like you should stop. So I like preserving that. But I also like the game not being terrible, especially for new players. But yourself, like you've done far more skilling feats than I ever have. How do you balance the feeling of needing to preserve, like, because I'm talking about that grind you really feel?
No, the grind is important, but a grind is not synonymous with masochism. Masochism is, let me try to think of a good example, is, crap.
Doing, how many solo nightmare did you do?
I mean, yeah, that's bad. That was just, especially knowing, like, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, it was a horrible decision to do, but I didn't think Nightmare was ever going to get changed. I was just like, may as well do it now.
Yeah. Unlucky.
No, but I think some differences I would say is usually methods themselves aren't the problem. It's elements of a method. So
Gnome Cube.
I mean, Gnome Cube is a great example of something that can ease the grind, basically ease the masochism about it, which is the amount of clicks you have to do when like one of the clicks basically means nothing. I mean, again, it's all subjective ultimately, but the way I've argued for the Gnome Cube, and it doesn't have to be a Gnome Cube, be Jim's Wet Rag or whatever else comes into the game. Even the Yama Horn had it briefly. And even the Fletching Knife came out, and that was going to basically make everything faster, but they decided not to. But you could have used, in conjunction with the Fletching Knife, a Celastro Spark, and that could have given you that 3-tick, 1-click thing. But that's a way of keeping everything that's good about the skill without it just being masochistic by just spamming a bunch. I feel like another one of those examples was like construction, left click construction. Like it used to be you had to right click every single thing, where we had menu entry swap. I mean, to this day, we still have the blackjacking, which still cannot be menu swapped, which I just think is so bizarre, especially for almost 2026 now. But it's just like those little things where, why are we keeping this around? It's because of people that they don't want it to be devalued. And I think there's also some element of, I don't know how to really describe this phenomenon, but I think there's a section of players that feels like they want to be able to be the gatekeepers of something. Like there's something attractive about kind of gatekeeping in a way. And it's
Yeah.
I think a good example, sort of like a PvM example, is Yama when it came out. Yama's an incredibly fun fight, but I think people didn't like the difficulty of it because they saw people that they think in their mind should not be able to do this content. They kind of like the idea of having people gate kept out of it, and that adds some sort of prestige or some sort of like exclusivity. And I think there is a lot of that with something like a Gnome Cube. Like if you bring that out, it's going to include more people, and I'm one of those people that's in the sort of exclusive club that can do this efficiently already, and so other people being able to join in, I think there's like something subconscious. Honestly, I know that might sound like a little bit of projection,
No, you're right.
but I genuinely feel like
ego.
Yeah, no, it is.
And groups. Yeah. And it makes sense when you spend 10, 20, 30, 40,000 hours in a game and it becomes part of your core life and your personality. Myself included, I'm not innocent, but your achievements and what you can do and what others can't do, it does become an ego thing, because it's hard to escape that when you pour so much of your passion and time into it. So I understand it, but it is definitely a negative human trait that we have. That's just like, you can't sit at this table. Like, you shouldn't be able to do Yama. It needs to be harder.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So
yeah, it's goofy. Okay, I want to touch on this massive topic, which is minigame discussion. And it looks like on this page you have several different ideas for basically all the minigames, and I really want to jump into this. So I guess let's just start alphabetically down the list, and I'll kind of have you lead the discussion. I'll share some thoughts of my own.
Yeah, so if you open your collection log and go to minigames, I just went down the list in the collection log. But we all know that there's certain things that aren't included, like Temperos and Wintertot are technically skilling bosses. So those aren't included on this list. Of course, I'd love to talk about them. I think they're fairly in a decent-ish place. But I think minigames specifically, in the communities I'm in, there's a joke that I'm the minigame guru, because people are wondering, like, why the hell I'm playing these minigames. And like why I'm not raiding or doing whatever they're doing. And I love minigames. I always have since like 2004. But I think they get clowned on a lot with good reason. You look at something like Castle Wars, which is literally just an AFK timer clog, which I greenlogged literally just while I was studying in grad school, just on the second monitor, having 2 accounts, battle each other, cap 1, wait 20 minutes. So I think there's a lot they could do here. Castle Wars, I don't know if that's in my pay grade to fix. That's a hard one. But the first one is Barbarian Assault. And I think BA is absolutely goated. I definitely want to go there and grind the pet one day in in-game. Maybe once I get all the mega rares, I'll like go retirement home there. But I love that there's this really, really deep skill set you can learn with it. There's such a high ceiling. I wish it was a little more accessible, I guess. I remember being like getting my first torso, and literally just having to go to the BA world, stand in the lobby and spam type. There's a certain beauty to that, like we're kids again, selling lobbies and the West Varrock, but it can be really rough when you're clearly a champion, and rightfully so. No one wanted to take me because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to grief the first 3 teams I was on, whether I liked it or not, because I had to learn. So
yeah.
But what could we do to make BA better? The rewards. It's already in a great spot because everyone, like, you have to get your torso unless you're rich. Even if you're rich, you need one for Master Step. But I was thinking maybe like the Fremnic helms you could combine with the BA hats. The problem is you have like the Nezi helms really strong at that same power level. But if there's a way that they could make the BA hats also good, it would just be a cherry on top. It wouldn't change much. But what do you think of BA?
I mean, I can't really speak on it because I know people love it to death and they swear that it's the greatest thing that's ever come into RuneScape, so I don't want to like diminish that opinion from people. And I feel like Barbarian Assault is one of those high sort of like rec to get into properly.
Yeah.
And it's a lot going on, and I feel like there's a lot of elitism, even though people will say there is no elitism. I'm certain there is. I mean, if you aren't performing properly, like, people will get very tilted. And that's kind of like the sign of like, yeah, this is a place where I don't really want to be, because it doesn't feel very like noob friendly to some degree, like just the learning process, which usually happens with anything in RuneScape. But there's nothing that's ever spoken to me like Barbarian Assault is so fun. I'm just like, I feel like part of it, again, I don't know how people actually see it. I know there's a lot of intricacies with it, but I do think it's sort of one of those things where if you're good at it and other people aren't, it kind of makes you lean into it more and more. And then people get super, super fanatic about it, which I can appreciate. And I do like your suggestion of maybe buffing the helmets. I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, I think there's a certain kind of beauty when you take a simplistic thing. At its core, BA it's really complex, but it can be rudimentary if you want it to be. Like, if you ignored all the tiles you're supposed to mark and all the other stuff, you kill things, collect egg, shoot egg, heal player, But I think there's something beautiful at like the speed running, like making something really complex, and like learning about like the stalls with the skill capes are crazy. And then you have to learn and make a spreadsheet about how many ticks is each emote on each skill cape. That's the kind of stuff that like speaks to me. And I love nerding out about that to a point where I'll be really inefficient just trying to learn the efficient thing, because I think it's like fascinating. So I think you're right on the money. And whenever you have a really small community of anything, it's very easy for it to get like toxic, and for it becomes a vicious circle. People leave it because it's toxic. Only the toxic people stay. And this kind of like this snowball effect. But I have heard there's some other BA groups that aren't focused on boosting. They're more like pet hunting, that are a bit more inclusive. But dude, if you're a shitter, you're gonna find flack in a lot of communities. Even a lot of clans you'll join, like, people are gonna be mean, and it sucks. It's kind of part of any competitive game. But yeah, that's nerds for you, man. It can get rough out there.
All right, what about Brimhaven agility? I think I have some opinions on this. I've not talked about it recently because they already made their changes, and it doesn't sound like they're really going to be coming back to it for a while.
Yeah, I thought the changes were weird, but like, welcome. I don't think they made it worse. It just kind of made me scratch my head a little. I think the best change they made was you don't have to do 2 items in a row now, right? Mm-hmm. And before you used to have to. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
that's just stupid. At the beginning. It was just the beginning of like hitting one, or I see what you mean. Like, if you ever didn't hit a pillar, you'd have to hit another 2 to gain a ticket, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe
I love that change.
Yeah, that was a solid change.
I wrote down, I think it's in a okay spot right now. Cloggers love it because it's like 8 or 9 easy straightaway clogs, because of the full graceful outfit counting as, each individual clog spot. The pirate hook is goated for sailing coming up. You can combine it with the crab claw. But it's also, for the efficient players, it's currently the best method for like 20 to 47 agility, at least based on my research. And then it's basically like, after that, it's just Sepulchre to 99. But I'm not going to say Brimhaven's fun. I greenlogged it. I didn't mind it, but I don't really know what I would do to make it much better. What do you think of it?
I mean, I had an idea that was, well, one is just cleaning up all the animations. This is a global thing for agility. I feel like one of the most just badly, it's like a visual thing. I mean, if you were to not run up to an obstacle, pause for 3 seconds while your guy just stands there, and then cross the obstacle at like the slowest speed of all time, why can't we look like Assassin's Creed models where when you're running to something, as soon as you've approached it, like your actual true tiles hit it, you're already doing an animation to cross the obstacle, and then you get that nice smooth like animation delay when you're running to the next obstacle. I don't like it when you're crossing it's almost universal across this game. There's very few exceptions, but usually when you pass any obstacle, you have to stand on that next tile that you passed for a full tick before anything can happen now. And it's just those little grievances that I have where I'm just like, dude, can we please just clean this up to make the whole place feel less sticky, more snappy? This is all I've ever wanted with agility. But beyond that, talking specifically about Brimhaven agility, I always like the idea of specific worlds, maybe just 1 or 2 worlds, that has a competitive mode. So this would be a mode where you can race people, and if you hit the pillar first, you get extra tickets, maybe even like up to 10 or something. But it's only on 1 or 2 exclusive worlds, meaning there is no way to really abuse it. Unless somehow there's just a bunch of your alts on it and no other player is playing at the same time. But I think with those competitive worlds, it would be kind of fun to just be around a lot of people that are kind of competing and trying to hit the pillar and trying to even see as close as they can get to the next pillar to some degree, or maybe just kind of like the guessing of like, maybe it's going to spawn here, so I'm just going to stand here, and if it does hit it, it's going to be cool. And then it even announces your name maybe in the chat box that you hit the pillar, and something like that just sounds super fun. And I think even there was something really goofy I remember thinking of. Again, this is like a year or 2 ago when the discussion was kind of hot, but the idea of something being announced saying the third person to touch this pillar gets the 10 extra tickets. So then there's sort of like the chicken game being played where you're at the pillar and you're like, who's touched it? Like, I don't want to touch it first because then I won't get it. But you don't actually know who's touched it quite yet. And maybe there could be an animation of you actually touching it. But I think that could add some element of like fun as well.
Boxing. The sweats are in there with 3 accounts just in case of that scenario.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think it could just be like pretty fun, low key, of just some sort of randomization, and even just some like bonus round of like, hey, for the next little bit on this world, double tickets, for the next, 5 pillars. So just like that kind of RNG element that's keeping the community around. It's fun. A lightning round where maybe now the pillars are going to be flashing every 30 seconds, so there's a really high chance that you'll miss it. There's a little bit more strategy involved. They could have just done something as goofy as that, and it would have, I don't know, it would almost feel like the Wintertod Mass Worlds where everyone's kind of there and sort of competing. That'd be fun, but...
Yeah, and, if someone's, excuse me, if anyone's listening, like, how could Brimhaven possibly be competitive or whatever? Everyone's going to be there on the same tick. If you go to the wiki, there's actually a map, and you can see each obstacle and like the shortest path around the map.
Mm-hmm.
So with the randomization of the grid and where you have to go, there would be such a cool like skill ceiling where you could just really intuitively instantly map out that route, how to get there fastest. And you already see that with like, there's a lot of obstacles that you just don't do because they're trash. So you'll go all the way around just to avoid them. But it would be cool to see like the players who are the best, and they instantly know the route for each and every arrow based on where they are currently. Because it's like permutations. If you think about like where you're starting and where you're ending, and they like square on top of each other, and there's a lot of different options. So I love that idea. I think that's a good idea. For your comment about like wanting to be around players and stuff, I will tell anyone listening, there's agility worlds that I did my green log on, which people do. You might have to check. There's like probably 3 of them. Check each one, but one of them will have a ton of people at the Brimhaven course, and I found it fun just to watch other players. It's also a little easier like to follow their routes, so you feel like you're in an MMO, not in a dungeon alone.
Yeah, for sure. That would be the only way I would do it, is trying to find some other players on the same world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I rewards are fine there. But I think we could move on to the big one, Castle Wars. um, this one this one is a tough one. Cloggers love it because you get 30 clogs. And you can even the way it works is that last log spot is probably like 30% of the time to all the other ones, or it might just be exactly 50. So a lot of people just skip the last one. Um, the plate body, of course, the yellow and blue, but they Jagex recently tried to um, release a these loot crates, and then they had to change them like instantly because people were abusing them, and now they're only PvP items. I suppose like blighted resources. Um, I I don't know how they could fix Castle Wars. I think the items are so cool. I think it's cool that Pures like use the helmets. I think actually have some stats on them that they like. It's like prayer bonus or something maybe. Um, the cool halos. Uh, I don't know how they'd fix it. I like people's suggestions of having a competitive like grouping system so that like my clan could get MMR based like matchmaking rating based on, how many we play. I don't know how big the community would be for that, but I think it would be cool to see like the strats and like this competitive esports thing brought to RuneScape. I think LMS has been good, but it's a lot easier to implement because it's just battle royale. It's not matchmaking. So I don't really know. It obviously has a fond part in all of our hearts if you played in 2004 to whenever. Um, but so did the wilderness because we were all noobs. We didn't know what we were doing. It was easy to find a whale with a bunch of items that shouldn't have been there and capitalize on that. Now that we're all 30-year-old adults and we're smart, it's a lot harder for things like Castle Wars. Nobody's wasting their time in there. So this was kind of one I was stumped on. What do you think of Castle Wars?
I don't think there's much incentive you can bring to the average person to just do it for loot. I mean, there's no way you can incentivize it properly because if there's nothing being taken by a team, for example, like if you're not, the only time these competitive things can work is if there's like a wager like placed, sort of like, okay, I'm putting in a mill, and if I lose the game, I'm going to lose the mill, and you're actually going against a team that you're going against, and you have your own team and then you win, like you get the winnings of whoever put their bets on. I feel like that's the only way where some sort of competitive nature can actually last long term. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for Castle Wars is, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I know it's clunky as fuck. So if they were to get people that are truly in the know with Castle Wars, like the people that actually did play it competitively and know where the grievances are, where the annoyances are of the minigame, and clean all those up with an actual community of people that actually do Castle Wars so that they know what they're talking about, and they get the devs on board. They clean it all up, and then Jagex or anybody, I mean, look at what solo missions done with the DMM All-Stars and even player-run events where there can be huge prize pools of a 5 versus 5 team, and you actually are running scrimmages with the team that you want to face. And then they could even have like a full-on LAN tournament at Jagex, if it were to pop off enough. But even just like random online tournaments just briefly where people can root for their own teams and it's run on the old school channel, I think that would be enough. I don't think there's anything in game necessarily just for the average casual that's going to ever incentivize doing it that either wouldn't break Castle Wars or just start having it shit out loot for no reason and then making people just AFK even harder. I don't feel like there's any way for actual incentive, or for there to be a way to actually incentivize playing it properly without there being some sort of officially run tournament with big prize pools. And yeah, I think that'd be amazing to watch too, honestly, if it was actually like a good viewing experience with good commentators.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking on the fly here, but a lot of the solutions for these mini games I would look at is there a way we could get an XP training method in them? Because I love that trouble brewing, randomly out of the blue had this crazy like fletching and cooking method.
Well, used to.
But the
It's broken
problem
now.
is used to,
Yeah.
yeah. But I loved that, and there's a resurgence, but the problem is now you've changed it, and nobody's actually playing the game. They're all doing the method. So I was thinking, like, imagine if the barricades were like a really good source of construction training. Then you go to the Castle Wars world, or they just duel themselves, and everybody's just in the basement, dungeon, whatever, building barricades. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
So it's hard to fix, but what if the winner got a big, like, what if the winning team only on Castle Wars Worlds got like a big combat XP lamp? Not prayer, but since we introduced Crab, we've also admitted that combat XP is kind of irrelevant as long as you spend some time.
Mm-hmm.
So what if the winning team only got an XP lamp of 30K, so they could spend it on magic or ranged or something?
Yeah, I mean, it
not
could
great,
only work on official worlds. So
right.
one or two or three, or just depending on how many players are actively doing it. But even if it was just one world where, like the winning team is the only ones that are going to benefit, and it has to be randomized. It can't be like you're choosing the team, because then some guy with a bot farm is just always going to put all his bots into one, and that shit can still be abused, low key. I think this is why any mini game needs to have real moderation happening. I think with Bounty Hunter, originally with like the Bounty Hunter that was scrapped years back, there was just no moderation. Like they're not going to spend any ounce of money or time or energy into just banning people that are breaking the rules. And I think when it comes to bot farms and stuff, like Jagex just doesn't do anything about it for so long. And then by the time they finally maybe scratch the surface of the issue, everyone's already fled the scene. They're just like, this is so stupid. And I feel like if they ever want to make something truly good that's similar to Castle Wars, there has to be active moderation all the time, looking at, okay, all of these accounts are not doing anything. And there could be a rule of like, on that world specifically, on any other world, you can AFK, do whatever you want. But on this world in particular, we're going to have somebody actively looking at the games, making sure people aren't like sabotaging or whatever else, or just AFKing there, or having a bot farm. And again, I'm not going to go through all the ins and outs of what it would look like, but that's something like a discussion to be had, and like actual moderation is what's needed for these things. But yeah, I think the winning team would be the closest thing we can get to it. I still think there would be abuse. I still think there would be issues, because it either wouldn't be worth it, or it would be too worth it, where there'd be so much incentive to sort of glitch the system and have like level 3 accounts jumping in there, and all of a sudden they're like level 70 combat after like 5 games, because there's massive lamps that are broken. So
yeah, and you have people like in clan chats like, okay, we're all going to join blue team now. There's that with like Soul Wars is a problem.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a problem, because it's like a player-made group that just wants to play with each other and they're exclusive, but it makes the game worse for the average player. But going back to like the moderation thing, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I do really wonder why we had player mods from 1998 or whenever all the way to 2012, and well, I guess even way past that. Old school has player mods, but I wonder, I would love to hear from Jagex why they stopped. Perhaps it was a total nightmare, and like PR, and every week they had someone abusing their power. But God, it seems like with such a passionate player base, it seems like that would solve so much of our problems. I know you talk about wanting to be one and going to the GE and like banning thousands of people within an hour.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many people who agree and would do that, because like I host bingo events for my clan, and they are a part-time job. They're a ton of work, and they are not for any financial gain or any GP gain. In fact, I usually lose, but I love doing it, and I manage the integrity of it. And I think there's a lot of people just like me who would do that with their Castle Wars game. But I have to bet, like from a business perspective, it was probably a huge headache to have randoms online given power in your game. But
Yeah, but the
what's
power's
the
always been
alternative?
so little. It was what I thought was a 24-hour mute. No, it was a 60-minute mute. That was the extent of any PMOD's
Really?
power. It's horrible.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
An
that.
hour mute. Like what okay, I mean, yeah.
Jeez. But okay.
Anyway, yeah, we can move on.
Fishing trawler, another horrible one in the mix. But they've completely redone it a couple years ago. Um, I First off, they got to make it fun. It's still not fun. Now I don't know how they can do that. Um, it's just the other problem is now you have to go for your GM helm. So you have a lot of people like complaining and pissed because they're 3x rate getting a fishing outfit when, they're a PvM Andy and they never want to touch a skill, over the Song of the Elf requirements. But I think maybe if they added like anglerfish to the table, I also think it's unique. You only get like sea turtles from there. I don't know where else you can get sea turtles. I think you get some dropped elsewhere, but early in my account, Temperos gives you a ton of sea turtles.
And like Laren's chests, and I think Brimstone chests have them at certain fishing levels.
Okay. But yeah, like those are actually better food than like sharks. Aren't they equal to manta or like one less than manta?
I think sea turtles are 21. Yeah, and mantas are 22.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe allowing, early game players to get really good food here for those quest bosses, like right before going to Galvik or Saren or anything like that. Even the DT2 bosses, like stocking up. I like how there's like this meta to go do Seracnus and get grubby keys for Cerebrews for really early accounts. I think it's just a cool, like, little niche thing in the game. And you'll find a noob who's struggling at a boss. You're like, oh, dude, hear me out. So you're going to go kill Seracnus. You're going to get this grubby key. You're going to use it on a chest. You're going to get brews and restores from there. I think if they were able to introduce, like, food to Fishing Trawler, it may serve a niche use. But I did have a cool upgrade idea. Maybe Fishing Trawler could give you this sort of, like, master fishing rod, like master angler rod, where you could combine all the aerial fishing rods. And I think like 7 people in the entirety of the game would have it because no one wants to do that, but it would be a cool flex item.
Yeah, no, I
What do you
wouldn't
think?
be. I wouldn't be against something like that. I think personally, fishing trawler is probably fine where it's at, and I think mainly because there's a part of the enjoyment of fishing trawler is the fact that it's so stupid and chill and just you just like I was always on the top part of the boat. I know like the suckers are all down there like bailing the water.
Really?
I'm up there just
Yeah.
with the little kraken tentacles that occasionally hit, and you just like swing your axe at it or something like that. And
I was a bucket boy.
yeah, no, I feel like a lot of people are just doing the bailing or the patching, but you can just go there on top and you'll get plenty of points. You'll get just enough to get like your fishing trawler outfit just by doing that. And I enjoyed my experience because I was just socializing the whole time, and the fact that you don't have to engage is a really cool thing because it's just a lot of people. It's almost like you're all victims of this minigame and you all get to complain about it together. I think there's something kind of
Yes.
enjoyable about not having to actively do something, and you could just sit there and fuck around and then eventually you leave. So I actually don't really find much issue with it.
Yeah, you're all gaming the system and solidarity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I know what you're doing, you know what I'm doing. We're just here to chill.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody loses, right? You can fail at fishing trawler though, and it happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So I guess maybe someone could be toxic and be like, "What are you doing? Get to work." We're gonna lose because pest control gets that way. I know we'll get to that, but people get spicy in there because if you're in a lobby that loses like 2 games in a row, I mean, dude, everyone's instantly like 0 to 100. They lost all their chill, their focus. So. Fishing trawler's a tough one. I'm very glad they revisited it. I agree that I don't think there's much to add. Up next,
My favorite.
I know you feel the same way I do. I hate Giants Foundry. I greenlogged it, and I think it's redeemable. And I also, before we rip it apart, I want to thank the devs who made it, because I remember them telling the community, they're like, guys, we literally got like a month to come up with an entire smithing rework. Like we're doing what we can with our resources, was kind of their sentiment. So I do appreciate that they gave us something, because before it was just Blast Furnace. Some people do like Giants Foundry. Actually, I think we're in the minority for totally hating it. But I personally don't like it.
It's not like I totally hate it, but there's so many issues with it. And there are some things that would, very, very simple changes that would, I think, make it much more pleasant.
Yeah, I dislike it for a very simple thing. It's not AFK enough, and it's not active enough. It's just in this frustration middle zone where, you have to pay attention, but you also, once you change the tools, you just sit there and watch nothing happen. I do like that there's a predictable rhythm, like every game starts at the same point, and I know there's a plugin that'll tell you how many actions before you go to the next thing. So I like that, but
except it's not always accurate, especially if you're wearing the smithing outfit. And with the constant loss of heat, it'll say there's 2 more actions, and all of a sudden there's 1 more action, and then you move away from the thing, but then you come back because you realize you have 1 more, and then it's like, oh, you tried to fucking move, so we're gonna fucking punish you for that. No action on this attempt. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, I also, in skilling, I think there's a very simple like formula, and it's that your punishment for doing something poorly is generally lower XP per hour. So Giants Foundry introduced your punishment for doing something poorly is you lose your resources. And I think that's very unique, and it's a very bad feeling in skilling. Whereas like if I want to AFK, click a tree, and then go back to doing my homework or something, my only punishment is that my XP per hour goes way down because my character stops, I'm distracted, I'm not doing anything. Now imagine if every time my character wasn't swinging at the tree, it was burning logs from my bank. That's what Giants Foundry feels like, because you can invest into a sword you're making and completely lose it. And I don't think the risk reward is like valuable in a smithing mini game.
Yep.
Like save that for PvM, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And if it were up to me, very, very simple changes to make is one, basically just get rid of the whole mold system or add something to it where it actually has some relevancy. But right now it's stupid. It's a needless step. The whole like setting up your mold, and it's the glitchiest thing ever. If you're using the plugin, you're hopping through the 3 options and it keeps glitching. You don't even know which one you've clicked on. The whole thing's a mess. And the thing I would love is if there was maybe it's just it sort of comes like this already, but I would be okay if this was an unlock, is something where your heat never diminishes. So yes, it's a fantasy game. We can have some fantasy element to it where the heat's not. I mean, we have fucking hundreds of thousands of molten glass in our bank that never cools down. So I think we can, have this. But like having the heat not ever die down would allow a plugin to precisely kind of mark exactly where every like action on a machine is going to land you. So like it would be really cool to see the whole meter and then see the little increments of exactly where it will land. So you can basically see how many sounds you need to hear, and it's always going to be perfectly accurate. There's not going to be any heat loss that you didn't take account of. And so I think something like that would be amazing. And then also, again, the snappiness. I don't like it when you approach a machine, you start kind of grinding it. There's already some actions going on and nothing's actually happened yet. It's so much, everything feels so much better when you click something and the very tick you've arrived, actions are happening. It makes everything feel snappier and more responsive. And I think most players can agree that's a really good feeling, even if they don't recognize it fully, that is the thing that is giving you a good feeling. You see the same like sluggishness at Wintertodt braziers. You go there to start putting your brazier, or to like put your kindling in, and it's just not like registering for the first like 3 ticks. Then finally you get an XP drop, and then you do any little action to get frozen a little bit, and it's back to waiting like 3 seconds. It'd be so much better if it was just immediate. And I know has to be some balancing when it comes to Wintertod, but for something like Giant's Foundry, it's the perfect place to make every single station super, super snappy. And I think as soon as there is pure consistency with it, it makes everything feel better. And that's personally what I would love to see, is just everything being absolutely exact. There could be a plugin that just says the next station you're going to is going to be 12 hits of heat. And so then you could actually go to the station, look away, and count in your head without looking at the screen 12 little clicks. I know you can already kind of do that, but the plugin's broken and the heat keeps dying down and your outfit is fucking everything up because it's randomly giving you a little bit more. So when it says there was 3 more actions, there was actually only 2. It's very, very, very tilting. And then, like you said, whenever you do make a mistake, you're like losing XP from the bars, which is just silly.
Yeah, I think something I really liked that they did was when they approached this, they wanted Giant's Foundry to be like this recycling center for your other anvil smithed items. I think that is beautiful. I want to see more of it in RuneScape. And we saw it with the Fletching minigame, where you take all of these, unstrung bows or strung bows or whatever, your shields, and you can use them on these totems in Auburn Vale or Auburn Valley. And I think it's awesome to incorporate the ecosystem, and part of the satisfaction of Ironman is collecting resources, and then when they're in your bank, like processing them and like reaping the reward and clearing that spot out and feeling like you did something with it. So I love that. You could always alch your Anvil Smith stuff, so you could still see a reward. But I like that approach. I just think the gameplay itself really needs to be reworked. Definitely with your suggestions of like making it, as you like to say, predictable resource extraction. But yeah, make it predictable. When I go to this bench, I want to know that it's going to be exactly 12 ticks or 12 actions, and then I do the next one for 7. Like that gets you into the flow. And again, just like I didn't love with the Wilderness, I think Giant's Foundry, like you're constantly getting into and out of the flow, and it's like, and then you're frustrated because this sword was perfect until the last second, and now it's 2 dings on the health bar, and you're like, ah, shoot, whatever. But it just feels bad in a lot of ways.
Okay, let's touch on Gnome Restaurant.
Yep. So full transparency, I was prepping like all the items and all the pre-cooked food to do this. And then Figment's sailing prep sheet came out, and I dropped what I was doing. So I haven't done Gnome Restaurant, but I'm familiar. I, was watching all the videos and doing the prep, and about to go settle in to like try to green log this and get the scarf. But I think this is kind of simple content to make rewarding. And I'll just get straight to the point. I think if you just make the XP for this, like handing in, busted. I think cooking, you don't have to worry about devaluing. As long as it is less XP per hour than 1 ticking carom bombs, I think you're fine. But I love that it's this very intricate system. I love that you have this like mahogany homes traveling the world. There's an efficient like gear setup and loadout so that you can get to each person quickly. I think it's really cool content. This is exactly the kind of minigame I would love, excuse me, to see kind of updated and appreciated by the community. But currently, it's just for cloggers. But it's related directly to a skill, cooking, which it's not like cooking needs help, but it could use some help that isn't standing at a range. And I guess Temperos now, people train some cooking there, but it's not much. Oh, the other reward, I think the cooking gauntlets, they only work on a few specific types of fish. If you had an upgrade from the Gnome Restaurant where cooking gauntlets just worked for like everything, I think that would be a very worthy reward. maybe a little too busted, and I'm not thinking that all the way through. But yeah, what's your experience with Gnome Restaurant? Have you done it at all?
Yeah, I green logged it on Sae Bae. I enjoyed it, and I think just adding some reasonable cooking XP would just pretty much make it. I think there's a few different sort of annoyances just at the beginning, just with how weird the system is with actually making the foods and drinks and stuff. It's a bit odd. But once you get it down and you've menu swapped all the items in the shops and everything, and you've just simplified it yourself for just spending enough time in it, it actually becomes quite enjoyable. And I think just getting some cooking XP would be great. So that's all I have.
Yeah. I like I love clues as well. Anything that makes you travel around the world, I just think it's so cool. I think it's the change of scenery. I think it's the cool teleport efficiencies you can find.
100%.
I'm always measuring, like, I use the shortest path plugin to measure how many tiles away, and then I'll teleport to, like, the two places I'm debating between. I'm like, oh, this is 54 tiles, but the other one's 63, so I'm going to use this one.
Ooh.
I think those are awesome.
One more thing is the Grand Gnome Seed Pod or whatever, the thing you get from Monkey Madness 2. There is a Gnome Seed Pod that actually takes you to the top floor when you use it. And it takes you to the glider immediately.
Is that why it's different?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I would love it if you did enough Gnome Restaurant, you get an additional teleport with your Grand Gnome Seed Pod that can take you to the ground floor and can also take you to the highest floor. So you're right next to the glider. Because honestly, the glider for a few steps is actually kind of the goat. And it would be really cool to just immediately go there. I know they've already changed the ladder, so you can just immediately go up there without scaling all 4 floors. But yeah, I would love an additional little teleport option. That'd be great.
Then you get all the Turiel skippers in there, which would, now you have a reason for that Zuckhelm to go do Gnome Restaurant because he wants to Turiel skip.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
So that is brilliant. Okay. Up next, this one, Guardians of the Rift. I just want to say I green logged it, which is hard to do. You gotta get all the dies and stuff. But I've done a ton. I've done 910 riffs. Some of those were like, I've done the duo methods quite a lot. I love duo. But a lot of it was just Mass World. Guardians of the Rift might be the most beloved minigame as of late. But when it came out, I was on the Wilderness podcast talking to Dills about I don't like the gamification of skills. I think it worked for something like fire making, where the skill was so one-dimensional and empty, it needed something like Wintertot. It's still problematic, but I think rune crafting is it's one of my favorite skills because, again, you're traveling the world. There's like different teleports you need to unlock. There's different methods. Every 10 levels, you're switching to this or that. There's GP methods, there's XP methods. And then all of a sudden now, it's just like, do rune mysteries, do whatever quest you, Eye of the whatever. What is it called? It's going to bother me now. I can't see it. But
Eye of the Storm?
Anyways, is that what it's called?
You just said Eye of the something. I was thinking Eye of the Storm. But
I thought so, yeah. Whatever you need to unlock Guardians of the Rift.
Yeah.
And then just sit there till 99, basically. And all the sweats, we like to do the day alt 1.5 tick and take it to ZMI, but your average Joe is just going to sit at Guardians, and they're probably going to hate it by the time they hit 85 or 90 or whatever for the diary. So, yeah, that was just kind of word vomit. I love it, but I think it is kind of problematic to boil it down into just one minigame for the whole skill, because the skill some people thought sucked. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is mainly an issue that can be resolved by like outside of the minigame itself. So like just, again, like kind of you said, making runecraft outside of it better. There's already issues with the Scar Essence mine. So the fact that the Scar Essence mine exists means that you should never really go and just craft the runes you need. You should always just do the highest XP per hour and then just spend your money on whatever runes you want later down the road. which that is the biggest reason I hate the Scar Essence, but I'm not going to keep talking about that. I know people already know my opinion on that. But yeah, they could just rebalance how much runes give, for example, and just balance XP rates potentially outside of the minigame. I mean, one of the issues with Day Alt was the fact that ZMI like has a multiplicative effect with the Day Alt essence. So you're getting like really, really high rates using Day Alt at ZMI. And that was a really, if they hadn't decided to do that, because that was, I think back in the day when they were first proposing it, I remember a lot of high level skillers were, ironman skillers were suggesting that these Day Alt don't work with ZMI. And then it would have basically increased the incentive to do normal alters, sort of. But again, I just feel like there's a huge overhaul that needs to happen when it comes to runes and when it comes to multiple runes, just allowing normal rune crafting to feel pretty good and not feel like you're just wasting a bunch of time. So that's just like very simple balancing that should just be addressed. But I don't think there's any real problem with Guardians of the Rift as a mini game.
Yeah, I think this is an example I use for a lot of training methods in the game. Is Guardians of the Rift is so good, not because of the XP, but because it's so fun, you forget your training rune crafting, and then you check after an hour session and see you got 55 or 65k XP, or maybe way less than that if you're starting out. But I think that the fun factor being balanced with lower XP is perfect for balancing, because you get more XP because you stay there longer because you're having fun and time flies by. So I like to use this as an example of like, we should fix this method with something like Guardians of the Rift, where it's lower XP, but it's so much fun that you know, time flies by, you're in this flow. So I thought they did excellent. And I believe Madalena was in charge of Guardians of the Rift. So
she's great.
Yeah, and also kind of in charge of sailing with Husky. So that's definitely really good signs for, you know, the hype train for sailing. Up next, speaking of Mod Husky, we have Hallowed Sepulchre. Just an amazing minigame. I have, gone all the way through floor 5. I got spooned a ring at like, oh, you're gonna hate me, like I think 18 grand chests. So
no, I don't hate you. I've spooned the ring on all my accounts, so yeah, I'm with you.
Some of the viewers will then.
Yeah. I know I've heard a person went like 700 something for it, which isn't even that crazy. It's only like 3 times rate. But
oh yeah, man, it's 1 in 200.
Yeah, it's brutal to see that kind of stuff.
They got to do something with that ring, man. And I think sailing would be a cool way to tie it in. But
I need to say something, actually, just backtrack briefly on Guardians of the Rift. Make the needle guaranteed at 300 or 350 or whatever the rate is.
Yeah.
It's an untradeable. That's a perfect solution to it. I've seen people go 2,000 dry for their needle. That's absurd. That should just be a guarantee, like a Vorkath had. It is untradeable, which makes it perfectly reasonable.
That's a good call out. I meant to write that down too. I totally agree. And I don't know. The lantern you can buy now, I believe.
Yeah, you can.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah, with pearls.
But you can't buy the big needle. What if you could just buy the big needle at that equivalency?
I would just like it if you just guaranteed got it, because
at the drop rate. Yeah, because rune crafting with 4 pouches is so bad, dude. I mean, I know it was the way of the past and it was fun with, AHK and stuff, but I mean, once the Colossal pouch came out, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah,
that feels terrible.
It's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sepulchre, a huge fan. Husky did an amazing job. There's before I let you go off about it, I think generally speaking, people just don't like the level requirements, because the fun of Sepulchre is 92 plus.
Yeah.
And I think
that's when it starts.
Yeah, that's where it really becomes a lot of fun. And I think they could just do some slightly rebalancing with it, allowing you to do that high floor at maybe level 85. Like maybe 85 would be when you unlock that, and then just kind of go down every 7 levels or something. down to, so it kind of is like squished scaling to some degree. But that's really, I mean, I also see your criticism with like the making the acorn slightly cheaper. I don't think it takes that long to get an acorn. I think the fact that you can get the acorn before you even go rate for the ring is fine, but it's a fair thing to say.
I take that back. I also was going to say the Guardian's Eye, which is the transmog for Guardians of the Rift, the Ringcraft bet. I was also going to say to lower that, just because I personally was like sitting there grinding for it and it felt silly. But leave it in there. It's a cosmetic. It should be like this cool prestige item. Like, oh, that guy stayed at Guardians forever just for that little cosmetic. So yeah, I definitely take that back. I do have a hot take with Sepulchre though. It's actually not even that hot. So Volcano, they made an update where you can either select to focus on materials or XP. So you can do Volcano, you can get worse drops but higher XP, or vice versa. And I love that. I think Sepulchre, the XP per hour is so unrewarding for the level of effort and skill it requires. And I would love to see either the XP rates across the board just upped even 15%. But everyone's like, oh, well, the reason for that is because the loot is so good. You get clues, you get runes, you get rune items, you get seeds, you get all sorts of stuff. But I have never really seen that. I've done Sepulchre because it was like challenging and fun, and I was always like shocked at how little agility XP I got because I was looting, because I was learning. I was like, I literally kind of felt like I was wasting my XP, and I don't know. I think that's a shame. What do you think of the XP?
No, I actually believe the XP is perfect, and I do think it's just a matter of not looting. Like if you want to get like good rates, and I'm talking mainly 92 plus, like when you actually get level floor 5, which is why I'm kind of almost suggesting go maybe lower that down to like 85, because at 85, if you could do all floor 5, you'd be getting very generous XP rates for the rest of it. I mean, it would be absolutely essential at 85 to jump over to Sepulchre, because you can get, if you're good enough, 100k XP an hour doing Sepulchre. You're just not looting besides the last chest, which a lot of people just do that anyway. So I'm a clue guy, so I like just looting, and I think I would love to just not loot, because it all that looting.
Yeah, me too.
It makes it feel like it's just, I don't know. It almost feels like a
kind of.
It's not like necessarily a punishment, but it just like you lose the flow. Like you were running, you're having a good time, you're dodging all this stuff, and I'm looking at like floor 5, and there's like 3 different locations where you're looting, and it just kind of slows everything down. And then the fact that you can be 99 thieving and still get poisoned twice in a row is just silly. Like all that stuff should just be eliminated once you hit a certain level. But yeah, I actually don't mind the XP rates. I think 100k is plenty. Again, mostly talking floor 5. Anything below that, it does just, Sepulchre doesn't feel that great. Just having to end early, it's just awful. But
yeah, I'm saving up for the acorn, so I definitely have to loot like floors 3 and up. And it feels bad because I'm also not good enough to have a ton of time remaining. So it's very like stressful because I feel like I have to loot because I want the log. But once I green log, I'm going to feel this wave of relief because I will just comfortably be able to go get a ton of XP. But by that time, I'll probably be 99 agility. So,
yeah, I maybe I'm jaded as well because I'm pretty good at Sepulchre. So I feel like I have put in over like probably combined 1,700 laps, like full laps of floor 5. So yeah,
that's a lot.
I definitely feel like I'm pretty experienced with it. So maybe those that are jumping into it see it differently. I mean, definitely.
So I know you didn't play Gridmaster, right?
No.
So one of the Gridmaster important high-level tiles was complete Sepulchre floor 5. Not in time, just complete it, which means you have to complete floor 4 in time in order to be able to get in. And the amount of people who had never done Sepulchre and just skipped this tile because it was so hard, or the amount of people who spent like 3 nights watching YouTube videos, maybe not 3 nights, but like a night or two watching guides and practicing and failing and being frustrated was baffling because 4 or 5 is hard content for people to learn. And especially me, like I had gone months without doing it. I was very rusty, but I was able to, like, I didn't know you didn't have to do it in time. So I just completed one and finished it. And I was like, wait, that wasn't in time. I double checked the task. It's like, just complete it. So thank goodness. But yeah, I thought that was a funny tangent. Like everyone was just skipping it because they'd never learned, and it's just hard to learn.
It's very tough. Yeah, it's very hard to learn, especially if your mindset going into it is just, I just need to brute force this. Then you're going to have a miserable time.
I did Barracuda trials on the beta, and I did the highest level. So Barracuda trials, you can get like a bronze, silver, or gold medal. Bronze and silver are like very obtainable. Gold, I was in Discord with like my friends with Zuck Helms, and they spent like an hour straight resetting to try to get it. And I took like 3 hours, because I'm a little worse than them. But it was so hard. So I think you'll love Barracuda Trials because it was that level of difficulty.
Hell yeah.
So, and I know your concern was like, won't there just be tiles that people click for this or that?
It wasn't like that wasn't even the concern. I'd actually almost prefer it to be that way. I just figure, I mean, that was just always a comment I would say is like, eventually it's just going to get solved. But it sounds like this is not an instanced area, meaning the storms are always changing. And I almost feel like that's going to be more of a headache. I think Hebox and I were talking about that. Like, I love consistency. I love instant Sepulchre, where everything starts off exactly how it's supposed to be, and there's patterns you can recognize. And without those patterns, it can just be kind of annoying long term. It's the same thing Arcane said about Yama at the it was like Runefest. He was just saying like he doesn't like how Toa high level invocation is just constant brain usage. Mm-hmm. He wants you to get to a point where it's just full brain off. I'm worried that the Barracuda trials won't be like that. Who knows? Maybe it will, though.
I do remember that the storms come and go, but it's almost like you reset until you... I'm really interested to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
Because I do remember the storms changing, but the route was the exact same. And you learn the route, and then you kind of have to adapt based on the storms. But I agree with what you're saying, and this goes back to my core topic of like wanting to get in the flow and stay in the flow. I don't want a lightning storm to remove me from my flow because I didn't know it was rotating that second.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, a little off topic. Anything else with Hallowed Sepulchre?
No, let's jump to LMS.
LMS. This one, I think, as long as they continue bot busting, there's not much more they need to do here. I like that cloggers need to go here. I like that the 1000 win cape is like the rarest item in the game. I just think there's an egregious botting problem. I like that some Ironmen can go here for their rune pouch. I like the cosmetic, like the Bandos Godsword special I went and got when I got my BGS. I like that it's like a retirement home for cloggers, as well as a place for PvPers or PKers to go there and learn without risk of failing or risk of losing anything. I did have an idea, make it Battle Royale properly with like 100 people and more generous points. I don't know what to do about the cape situation though, besides just leave it. I feel like LMS is in a fine position.
I do like the idea of a 100-man battle royale. That'd be super, super cool. It'd make just the games feel a little longer. And what they could do, this just came to my mind. Who knows how people actually think about it? But instead of having it be wins for the cape, maybe it's just kills and maybe up it to 5,000. So it's just, have you done a total of 5,000 kills? That. So like one is that you're never gate kept by some giga sweat that's always going to beat you at the last thing. So you could be a very competent PKer, but then just not be able to just finish it off and get that, which can be very tilting. So if it was just based on kills, you don't feel super bad about not winning the game. And again, maybe people see that as like devaluing it. But if you wanted to add like 100-man modes and other things, you wouldn't feel like you're wasting time either by like, oh, this is only going to count as one win. You're just counting it as kills, and then you get your 5,000 kill cape or something. So
Yeah, I do want to share my experience doing LMS as a complete noob to the game on my iron. So I had to go there for the rune pouch, and it was at the time it was either do Slayer and spend, I believe, 750 points on a rune pouch, or go to LMS for the equivalent of like 6 hours or something for an average guy, or like less. I don't know, however long it takes you to get a rune pouch. But basically, it was a very easy decision. You should go to LMS and spend this time there. However, when I got in there as someone who had not played the game much, I had watched Autoblock, in a few YouTube videos and seen how crazy it can get. I just got stomped and destroyed night after night, and I still do, but I'm quite a bit more competent now. It is so hard to get into, especially even versus the bots sometimes. I know we have Terminator bots, but even the easier bots for like a new player, there's nothing worse than just sending an hour of LMS and getting like one kill because they were AFK. So I do sympathize with people, and I actually went and I Turiel boosted with Konar to buy my rune pouch that way because it was so painful. And all my friends are like yelling at me, like, you're wasting so much time. I was like, at least I'm gonna get a tiny bit of Slayer this way, and at least I'm not frustrated for like 8 hours straight. Because LMS can be brutal. So if you're listening to this, you're not alone. But if you keep trying, it can be extremely fun content and exhilarating. So
yeah, I'm with you. I was a noob at one point. I had to learn. I obviously had already spent so many hours in this game, and I understand the value of like setting up a good little inventory layout, making sure your hardware is good, making sure there's so many things that could make me a really shitty LMS player. If I was playing on a piece of shit laptop with a crappy mouse that's not calibrated to how I like it, I would be, and then you're on Aussie ping or something. Yeah, you're just going to lose your mind.
yeah.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
But I'm with you where like the longer you do it, it can just get so addicting. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and there's very I look for those types of content in this game. They get my heart pumping and my hands like shaking, And I get that with really high level PvM content, like not high level, but challenging to me. And I definitely get that in LMS when you're like in the final fight and they're a Giga Sweat, but you have a chance. Like that's special. So I want to keep that. But shall we move on to Magic Training Arena?
Yeah,
MTA.
let's do it.
So they recently did an entire revamp. I've been in there very little since the revamp. I remember the OG Magic Training Arena. And back in the day, when I started this iron in 2021, I got Master Wand, the boots, and the book, because I wanted the book for some reason. And honestly, the telekinetic room and the book, like the points I needed to buy the mage's book, was one of the hardest grinds I've ever done because it was like it just hurt in your chest to sit in that room and click and wait. So they fixed that, but I got it as like a flex item. Like, yeah, I wasted that much time. What are you going to do? And now the mage's book is actually a really good item to get early. It's 2% magic damage bonus. But back to the minigame, I believe most people have said it's quite pleasant now. They fixed a lot of the annoyances with like the high alchemy room. Telekinetic room is much faster. I always like the enchantment room because you're like rotating around and it can be kind of fun. I wish the infinity robes, I like that they gave them a place. I like that UIMs use them because they can store them. But now with the Perilous Moon set, the Blue Moon set, that's kind of gone away. But I think MTA, oddly enough, especially with the Rune Pouch edition there, that was brilliant, very simple. I think it's in a good spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I would almost like it if Infinity was slightly buffed, or maybe even have some sort of attachment where because I believe Infinity Robes you can wear like at, what is it, 40 defense or 30 defense, whatever
it's
it is.
low, yeah.
Maybe 20. Let me see. Armor. Infinity. I don't even see it. Do you see it? Maybe it's in Magic.
I
was
believe.
It in Magic only? It's not in defense.
Armor. 50. That's weird. 25 defense.
25 defense. There we go. So
yeah, it's really low.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it would be kind of cool in a way if Infinity did have some fortified version of it. So maybe like Infinity with, I don't know, just Arims. I honestly, that doesn't really make too much sense. I'd almost prefer it to not be Blue Moon just because Moons is already so good, which is kind of the reason why it would be cool to have Infinity kind of be buffed. Not necessarily to just buff the base version, but again, sort of like Baby Masori versus the fortified version. I do find Infinity to be very iconic, and they did already buff it. It does have 1% magic damage per piece, and I'm still using my top. I mean, the only reason I'm not using the full Infinity is because I have gotten the Virtus Mask and the Virtus Bottoms. As soon as I get the Virtus Top, I'll be chilling. But I mean, Infinity was what I was rocking because I skipped Moons and Barrows, and I loved it. I loved like having that sort of side quest grind that still is meaningful. So. But yeah, ultimately,
imagine seeing somebody with an Ironman with the elite clue kits on a full set of Infinity, and it actually being useful. That would just be so sick.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is Classic Infinity looks so much better than the ornament kits. The ornament kits make you look like a butter popcorn jelly bean, the light one, and then the dark one is just like it just looks
the pink and black goes hard, but it looks private servery. It looks really weird.
Like it looks all right. Like I not like private server. It's just like the original is just better. It's just cooler looking. There's more to it. The color scheme's cooler, but
yeah,
the light one in particular looks just awful. I do not like that.
yeah. I lucked out on Dusk Mystic. I got Dusk Mystic top on my iron before Aram's top. And dude, taking that to like chambers with the boys, it was so cool. Like just being able to flex that. So I'd love to have. I like that they gave it 1% magic damage, but nobody's getting it besides maybe UIMs. I don't even think they're doing it anymore.
I would also say one thing on the telekinetic room. I know they've made great changes to it, but one of the things I would love is if you could queue up another telegrab. So meaning when it's moving, you can actually click on it, because right now you actually have to wait for it to fully slide over to the stopping point, and then you can click the telegrab again. It's cool that you can run while you've already telegrabbed, but it'd be really cool if in motion of it moving one way, you can instantly queue up another telegrab. So as soon as it hits the wall, it's already moving to the other side. And I think that would just add more flow to it. Might be engine work though. I mean, it for sure is engine work. That'd be amazing though.
One thing I do have for suggestion is there's this weird point in like early iron where you need to go to MTA, but you're broke. So you're almost like evaluating, should I go run Agility Pyramid to get the money for the runes to go to MTA? Feel like it wouldn't be that broken to have like, I don't think you can make it free, but some sort of reduced rune cost for MTA, because it just seems so wrong that like Ironmen are stuck like saving up 3 mil, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a fresh noob, like as an iron, raw GP is like a tough resource to get. So
I mean, they already do have some savings, and like the alchemy room, you'll always have like the free little slot, or not always, but occasionally you'll get the free slot. That's like where the 30 coins alch is. And I honestly think Guardians of the Rift kind of made the made it less bad, because Guardians of the Rift you can jump into so early and you're getting the runes you need for MTA. And that's what I did on this account.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. I did it pre-coder.
Yeah.
So, okay. Mahogany Homes next.
Yeah, nothing really to say about this. They've made amazing changes personally, and I love your idea of Infinite Ring of Wealth.
Yes. I don't know how. Well, I think Infinite Ring of Wealth should not be from Mahogany Homes. I don't know how they would do that.
No,
but
Yeah.
Just having it in there would be sick. And I used your guide on YouTube, and I went there and I marked each tile and like which order you're supposed to click them on. And it wasn't efficient for me to sit there and waste like 2 hours marking the tiles if you did the math right. But I had such a much better experience knowing I was doing the fastest route for each house.
Yes.
So
Love that.
definitely check that out. But Mahogany Homes, I think a lot of people, only Ironmen do it because the XP per hour is really good, but I love it. I feel like we're in the minority. I feel like there's a lot of Mahogany Homes hate out there.
Well, just because like the XP per hour is bad, and if you're not doing mahogany planks, that's even worse. And I just feel like it's a lot of effort for less XP per hour. Where if you just had the money and you had the planks, dude, normal construction is such a breeze. I mean, there's a construction quality of life plugin that allows you to literally just hold one key and it will always do the key that's needed, basically. So there is no pressing 1 and then 6 or whatever over and over. It's just simply a left click game. That's all it is. It's crazy.
Yeah. I just looked it up, and the construction tees, it looks like they cap out at +3. So maybe like they had the Smith's Catalyst from the smithing minigame Giants Foundry. Maybe Mahogany Homes could have a +4, but it's kind of expensive to buy. But it encourages early game irons to get in there with some oak planks and try it out and get a couple points.
Ooh. You know what? I would almost even say have a really expensive brew there that gives you a +5 boost.
Yeah.
So
I like. I think stews are awful, but I don't want to take them out of the game because I think it's like this core part of RuneScape is like having your cat die to the behemoth or like getting unlucky with like it's like the masochism we were talking about. It's like so bad, but I kind of want to hold on to it.
No, you could.
Because it's like so cute.
Yeah, no. You should definitely be able to hold on to that. I don't think anything should really go about. I think actually with sailing, something's going to like +6. I can't remember what it is. It was like a super fishing
boost, maybe.
Yeah, something like a super fishing pod or something. But I would be super down for just an expensive, because right now Mahogany Homes points actually are quite they do take a while to stack up. And if you just had a +5 that you could just buy for a significant amount of points, maybe as expensive as one of the pieces of the outfit, for example. And to be fair, you might need to even buy a couple of them if you wanted to like get 83 construction, and then there might be a couple things that you need that are actually level like 91 or whatever it is to use both the saw. I just think there's always going to be the sort of quick way of just going to the rats, the little hell
dungeon
rats.
doors. Oh,
well, I was just going to say, like, there still is a reason for the stews, because I feel like in the early game, if you get a wily cat, you could just stack up a bunch of these stews long term and just do all 4. You're not even killing the behemoths. In fact, fuck the behemoths all the time now, especially because now actually catching rats is faster because your guy can actually move. He's not like glued to the ground whenever you're trying to catch him. I don't know if you've done it recently, but they've they've improved it. So sort of like falconry, where your guy's like glued to the ground, they've actually fixed that to some degree. It's not fully fixed. It's not fully free roaming, but there's a little bit more like freedom in summoning your rat and then running around. So
I do have something I just thought of. So I greenlog Mahogany Homes, and I just went back and double checked. I have 7,000 points that I can only use on supply crates, which I believe just gives steel bars and like teak planks or something.
Yeah, it's like trash.
I don't even know.
I've never opened one. I just know it's trash.
So never bought them because I'm like, surely I'll regret that if they ever update these. With sailing coming out, dude, give us some maroon nails or maybe a 1 in 50 chance of getting a dragon sheet. But since sailing is going to be so intertwined with construction, maybe they can introduce some of these materials to Mahogany Homes, kind of tie the two together. But if not, there's no reason I should have 7,000 points with nothing to spend on besides like steel bars. I don't know. Guess I can make cannonballs. But okay. Oh, this next one is kind of painful for me. Uh, Mastering Mixology. I greenlogged it, and it was kind of my fault that I didn't enjoy it because I locked myself there to greenlog it, which is rough. It was like only 20 or 30 hours or something, but it was just like painful um and like exhausting. But I really enjoyed it at some points. I got into like this flow, and I knew like which stations I was going for. And then when you're saving up these the mix a lot whatever that rare herb you pick up is, when you're like saving those up for some big XP drop, it's like really rewarding. I also think Herblore needed help because I hated going and collecting like Mortmire mushrooms like all the time just to train and get XP for energy pots I don't need. It felt like a bad ecosystem. So I mastering mixology is tough for me. I love the goading potion. I love prayer enhance. I haven't used, but I plan to use in Inferno. Um, but I kind of wish goading potions were a little easier to get for like my Champion's Cape grind, but they're not that hard. But this is a complex one for me. How do you feel about mastering mixology?
I love the balancing of it. I think it's very, very well balanced, and it hasn't taken over Herblore, for example. There's still
Yep.
plenty of reason to just make potions, and I love all the rewards. The goggles are great. The amulet's fucking amazing. The secondaries pouch. I haven't actually bought potion storage or the chugging barrel, but I've heard good things about it. And I love the goading pots and the prayer restoration potions. They're just super, super amazing. And prayer restorations with thieving, especially like thieving Vyres or elves, is so amazing. You take one sip and you can just endlessly redemption for like 7.5 minutes or however long it is. It's just so cool. So, because I used to use like Zammy brews and stuff and prayer pots and sipping a whole dose just for one redemption, whereas now it's like one dose for 7.5 minutes of redemptioning. So there's some really cool uses for it. And goading pots, dust devils, I can just stand in the middle of the room, move back and forth, and just the goading pot just brings all of them. Neck reel tasks, incredible. But when
They're
it comes to the
amazing.
actual mini game, there's a few different things I'd love to see. I love how snappy most of it is, but it's not snappy enough. I think when you're approaching certain machines, it should already start doing the action. I think that's the stuff that really feels satisfying. Also, the V machine, the far back one, that one is so glitched because the meter will show that it's all the way full, and then you'll click off, and then you have to fucking make the whole thing again, but without the boosts. Have you ever had that happen to you? Like the meter shows that it's full, and it's not sometimes, and it's
Oh,
so tilting
gosh.
because then
Yeah,
you click
that's the
off of
worst.
it and it's like, oh, it didn't make it. So then you go back to the thing and you have to do the bar all the way from the beginning again with no potential to boost it. It is horrible. So they need to fix that. And I also do think, because now I'm like 98 Herblore, I'm basically 99. I love that the machines kind of go faster as they go on. But again, the V machine feels like it's almost getting downgraded low key over like as many levels as you get, because sometimes the machine just takes so long for that first bump to hit. And by that point, only the first bump really mattered. The second one was pretty much useless. And I think they should rebalance some of it. So like the higher Herblore level you get, that V machine is basically done. Or like it'll do the jingle within the first one or two ticks and no later. So there's like little gripes that I have of that. I also think the herb that you can pick should be a stackable thing. I do enjoy the fact that you can just get all these bonus points, but it sucks when you feels like you're kind of holding onto the herb, and while you're holding onto it, no more can grow. I think that's really silly. I
The
understand it's
worst
for
is
balancing
using it
sake.
on the wrong potion, dude.
Oh
You done
yeah.
that and you're just like gutted, and then you're like kind of trying to wait for that to be the contract, and it never happens,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, it's gutting. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I also think it's completely bizarre that the outfit does nothing. The goggles do, but
Yeah.
there's a top, a bottom, and boots.
Mm-hmm.
Are there like even gloves? I'm pretty sure. Okay, there's a top, bottom, and gloves. There's three pieces. They do nothing. They're cosmetic. That is what other skilling outfit does the outfit do nothing?
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
they purposely did that because they wanted you to be able to
I
just
get it.
make potions with any outfit, which I actually appreciate,
and
low-key.
yeah, you get to wear your fashion scape. I do all my bank standing at the Myths Guild so I can get my random events. But it just felt that bad to like, it's my fault. I'm a clogger. I wanted the spots, but it felt bad getting it, putting it in my house, and literally never touching it again. But I get it. That's on me. But I did think it was weird. And then the only other thing I'd ask for is maybe a little bit of, I don't know if I want downtime. I like how active it is. But again, it's kind of veering into that weird territory of being both active and not with some of the stations. But I don't know. I think it's in a pretty good spot to leave alone.
Yeah, there's just little gripes that I mentioned, but other than that, I think it's good.
Yeah, I'd love to see the XP per hour like really good, but I totally understand why they cannot do that without ruining 200 mil like Herblore, like the whole ecosystem would shatter. But for a minigame like that, it just feels like I should be getting a lot more XP. But I understand that's not really possible.
I think one other balancing thing is I wouldn't actually mind it if they were to just make the Aldarium cheaper. That would be total. If it was twice as cheap, that would be, I just think, an overall good, even though the economy would obviously change slightly. But I think it'd be almost cooler if or even maybe make it so you can buy it with different costs. I think the whole 3 pace thing, I understand why they did it, but the fact that like it feels like I'm endlessly going to just have a ton of green paste like overload, and the only way to really spend it is to just get the stupid potion packs kind of that are like the more green ones. It's just very silly. So I almost feel like there should be different sort of costs where you can crank one of them up and still get Aldarium, for example. But yeah, let's move on to pest control.
Yeah. We'll get into pest control, but that's a good point. I hated towards the end of my green log, I was really struggling to balance the paste. So maybe some sort of trading system where I can, even if it's like really like a bad deal, being able to give my excess points for, like give 3 green for 1 red or etc. Some way that wouldn't break the meta, but being able to use these leftover points would be nice because I ended up just having way out of whack, and I couldn't even help it. It just felt bad.
Yeah, I'm
so
with you.
Pest control is a champion's paradise, and by champion I mean the guy in like full granite with a D long.
Hell yeah!
Because we all remember it from back in the day. And Void, I think Void is such a cool outfit, and I think Doom using Void is just proof that you can get this set of gear 40 hours into the game and so use it 40,000 hours into the game, and I think that's so cool. I know it's Elite Void, whatever, but Pest Control does a lot of things good, except the game itself. Like, I like how the CAs give you boosted points. I like how you can fail, so you're actually incentivized to like you feel it. If you fail that game, you're pissed. So next game, you're really on it. You're checking the gates. You're making sure they're closed. You're typing in chat, close the gates. You're going to the middle of the room with like the people fletching, which was me. I stood by the knight and fletched, but you're yelling at them to like make sure they're doing their part. So I think pest control is good. I think some of the games are like, I think they should scale up the HP on like the portals, and then in relation scale up the points you get, so that it's really annoying to like run across the map to the open portal and it is down in like 10 seconds because everyone has their like Darok set ready. But pest control is tough. I think it's in a fine place though because everyone's still doing it. I just think the minigame itself has a lot of like things that didn't age well with the current like player power. So
yeah, I don't really have much thoughts. I think it's fine the way it is, personally.
Yeah. Speaking of things I don't have much thoughts on, we have Rogue's Den. This is just a really weird piece of content. Like, everyone does it for the thieving outfit and they learn it, and it's this cool, intricate, you know, layout where you have to mark tiles and you have to remember to pause and wait, with cool interactions, and then you never touch it again or even think of it until somebody asks you when they just started the game, and you try to reel back in your memory to 5 years ago when you last did it. Um, so I would love to see it actually be a viable training method. Maybe even like add agility, because it's very agility coded. I mean, it reminds me of the werewolf agility course, which could be a whole other episode topic. But I think I would love to see it continue to be used after you get the thieves outfit. What do you think of the rogue's den?
Yeah, I like it. I always enjoyed doing that mini game. I think just because I felt like I knew what I was doing ultimately. I think one of the cool things post completing the rogue's outfit is to get these stun deflectors. This is like an idea I've brought up before where
Oh yeah,
you've heard it. So just being able to collect these things where like the mini game itself is very low XP an hour, but you're collecting something that's genuinely valuable that's going to help later on in thieving. So stun deflectors, for those that haven't heard, is just a stackable, untradeable item that whenever you're stunned, it completely ignores it and you continue on with what you're doing. Meaning if you grinded a bunch of rogues, then for example, if that's the place you get it, you're getting very low XP, but you're getting an untradeable thing that you can then use at Vire pickpocketing for blood shards or elves. And you're now going to be getting a ton of XP per hour because you're going to be basically pickpocketing without ever getting stunned for as many as you stacked up, which again would take a while to stack up. And you would still be incentivized to use Shadow Veil. You'd still be incentivized to use dodgy necklaces. All of that would still be in your arsenal because you want to use as few stun deflectors as possible per hour. So, but ultimately you're just going to be getting, I don't even know, like maybe like 1,000,000 XP per hour once you've collected enough, and you just have a nice like long stretch of a few hours of just like uninterrupted pickpocketing, which I think would be so good. But again, it wouldn't break any metas because you spent the time getting very little XP at a place to build up the untradeable stack of them.
Yeah, and when they released the scroll boxes, I instantly wanted to try out gnome pickpocketing because I was trying to get my ranger boots. I went like 2x rate for them, and implings were just getting exhausting. I was like, perfect. I can go pickpocket these gnomes, and I can like do it on the side while I do something else and collect 5. And it sucked because they're just like hitting me the whole time and interrupting it. So if I could play actively, and then I could save up these stun deflectors, and then when I want to play inactively, I could click on a gnome and look away and get 5 medium clues. Like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. So I really like that idea, and it's not meta shattering at all, and it takes away some annoyance of thieving.
Yep.
So I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one is kind of a favorite of mine because it's slept on. It's very complex and unintuitive and weird. It is intuitive, but you have to like sit down and read the textbook on it, how it works. Shades of Morton. Have you done Shades of Morton for like the gold key? Well, yeah, you're a clue guy, so you've probably done a ton, right?
No, I mean, it's for irons, it's just horrible to do. For mains, it's great. But I mean, I did get the outfit on Sae Bae within like 2 hours of release. I just got hella spooned. I think I got the full outfit in like 140 or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah.
I love it. I think it's really weird. Like there's just a lot of, it's intuitive once you learn it, but learning it, there's like these different systems. You have to get the key to kill the shade, and then you go back with the shade remains to get the other key. So it's this cool loop. And I really enjoyed going for my outfit. I think maybe the only way they could improve this or get people to do it is if, they offer some good training methods. I think the release of the bone shards really upped the value of the zealot's robes. So that certainly helped. But at the same time, like there's not a lot of reason to go there except for, clogs, and I'd love to see maybe really good fire making XP, but then people wouldn't even engage with the content. They just sit there and burn remains. So quite a difficult one, but ultimately I think they have to answer this one with some sort of XP method by maybe opening the gold chests at the end. Could be, prayer and fire making XP a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I really don't have much to say on it. I think it's pretty balanced. And then again, the elite clues for mains is just insane.
Yeah, that was kind of a mistake, but I don't want to ruin your day talking about that one.
Yeah,
Arachnus career.
I mean, that wasn't
right.
the thing that shattered anything, because again, Ironman, did not do anything, because Ironmen need to actually kill the shades, whereas mains, all of that is done for them. They just go to the Grand Exchange. That's why it's so fast for mains. For irons, it's horribly slow to do that.
Okay, so I guess that's the part I was missing. So for irons, it's not even the meta?
No, not even close. I mean, in fact, it's not even technically meta for mains either. Callisto is. Doing a 10-man Callisto is the meta, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. Okay. Up next, this one I'll stand by, but everyone thinks it's bizarre. Soul Wars. So I remember when I was a kid, this was like my favorite game because it was like Castle Wars, but it was like a new version where there's also this PvE element. So even if I couldn't win in 1v1 matches, I could go kill the bosses and stuff. So I definitely kind of grew up with Soul Wars. It was towards the end of my RS2 time playing because I quit right when Summoning was released, which was '09, I believe. But the rewards shop is like hilarious. There's like the pet, the cape, which I got, and his best in slot prayer bonus, which I think is amazing. So actually use it for some AFK Slayer with a goading potion. You just sit there forever. But very unnecessary. And then the Ecto-plasmator, which a lot of people don't even know exists. It is basically a bone crusher, but it only works on what do they call them? Ghosts? Let me see. Spectral. Yeah. When killing a spectral monster, it gives you prayer XP. So you can actually take it to Muspa. You can take it to a Moxliaddle. You can take it on your Deviant Spectre tasks. You can take it to Barrows, and you get prayer XP. I just think if they made the XP a little bit more worthwhile, it currently gives you like a 250 or 170 XP drop, which adds up over 100,000 kills. But for your average Joe killing a handful, it's not much. But I also think it's cool how you can alt and you can, rush the pet. I like a fast pet method that's like kind of sweaty and niche. And I love that you can imbue everything at Soul Wars. I actually imbued some of my rings and like Slayer Helm maybe at Soul Wars because I didn't want to do Nightmare Zone because I'd done so much of it before. So yeah, what do you think of Soul Wars?
I actually have never done a singular Soul Wars game, but I
think I knew that.
Yeah. I do like the Ecto-plasmator, whatever it's pronounced.
Yeah.
I love that concept. I've always wanted to get one, but I can't get myself to just go do Soul Wars because I don't even know really what to do. And it feels like whenever there's a mini game that feels like it's busted by doing some alting thing, I just am instantly turned off by it. I'm like, I do not want to associate with a mini game where it's like I feel the need to just get as many points per hour with this super like alt method or something. I don't know. It's never spoken to me.
I do hate there's like this end crowd for the mass Soul Wars, where they do have a clan that they only let the the 126 max infernal cape dudes into. Not really, they but with in that regard they only let them in, and then they will actually I don't know how they do it. I'm really not sure because you go into the lobby and it just picks you at random. but there's some way that they collude essentially, and they're like, okay, this time red team's gonna win or blue team, and it gets annoying. Uh, as I'm recalling this in my memory, there seems like there's gaps, but I just recall this feeling of being in the out crowd and wanting to be in this little in crowd, and it feeling bad knowing I was with the normies on the other side and getting clowned on all day. So maybe they fixed it, but okay. Yeah, Soul Wars, maybe just add a 0 to the Ecto-plasmator to where like it should be like the Ash Sanctifier or the Bone Crusher, where everyone's like, dude, you need to go get this. And then people are engaging with the content. I actually trained a lot of combats in there because you get XP for using your stuff in there. So I was just in there with a DSim, like killing ghosts and collecting crystals and getting points and getting my imbues while gaining XP, which is usually kind of rare. Usually you get that like red circle with a slash where you're like, you're getting XP, but it won't count because you're in a minigame. So, on to the next. This one I think has some of the most potential, some of the most slept on content that was actually really cool. Temple tracking. I think it's bizarre that you get the lumberjack outfit from this. I think it's bizarre how you get, like, how you have to wait till you get this random event and then you get one piece, and like it's very old school coded where it's like a very odd system and you have to be reading a guide on how to even get it. But I think temple tracking could really, if it could be reworked where people actually played and you get this randomly generated map, maybe give a ton of agility XP. Not a ton, but something, equivalent to a decent, 30, 40K an hour. If you're like zooming through there, maybe even throw in some early game thieving XP because there's like chests along the way. I think it's a shame this minigame is basically abused for a woodcutting outfit and then completely left alone, never to be touched again. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I remember super early on, like 2017 or something, I was fucking around trying to get like silver bars. I just didn't know about Blast Furnace just being able to buy silver ore and how quick it was to just turn that all into bars. But at the time, I just wanted a bunch of silver bars to make, because I was spending a lot of time at the gem mine. I just wanted to make all that jewelry. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing I think it was like the hard route 3 or something. And I was like fully geared for it, ready to go. You actually had to like kill the enemies and everything. I wasn't just zooming past for the outfit. And then just getting the nice noted bars was super cool. And I was just enjoying myself. It wasn't efficient by any means, but it was just an enjoyable experience. But nowadays, it's like you either have to buff the rewards and kind of rebalance how you do it, sort of. And I think, yeah, there's just a whole separate discussion about like the balancing of rewards, because it could be kind of cool. And I think I do remember enjoying the non-cheese method where you're actually participating in the things, not just like quick exiting just to get the random event, that you want for the lumberjack outfit. But that's all I have to say about it.
It seems like the gnome restaurant, where it's such good content with a clear system in mind that's just been neglected for 2 decades. And I understand they have a huge game world to maintain. But I think it's a cool system that a lot of people, we're always asking for like this randomly generated map. Temple trekking, is it the same exact rooms for every, if you did the Route 3 hard, was it the same exact order or did it scrambles around?
No, it
right?
scrambles, yeah.
Yeah, people are always asking for that. They're like, we need more like CG, but a little different, like dungeoneering. Temple trekking is like kind of, I'm not going to relate it to dungeoneering. It's very different, but it scratches the itch of this random, you have to think on the fly. You have to remember what to do for each room. And I think that's cool. You also you have this like minion with you. You have to keep alive, right? You have to like throw food at the other guy,
yeah,
and like keep him stocked. And that can be annoying, but it could be really cool because a lot of like real-time strategy games are all about maintaining multiple units at the same time. So I'm thinking of like Age of Empires 2 and stuff. You being able to track both of our health, make sure he's like strength potted up at all times. Things like that could be cool. So I would love to see temple trekking reworked, and I would. I don't like the woodcutting outfit coming from there. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I also hate forestry. I don't know about hate, but I don't love forestry. So speaking of things no one loves, we have Tithe Farm. This was the only content in the game I actually think I got carpal tunnel in. It was so hard on my wrist because there's no break with the 25 method or whatever. Oh my gosh. Tithe Farm, I got the outfit early because I love those flexes of like, you're insane, why did you do that? I think it's cool because farming's very time gated. I don't like hourlies, I don't like dailies. So being able to go there and suffer, but get 115k XP an hour at an early level was like awesome. I thought it was great. So that's kind of what I think of Tithe Farm. I have been back. They've made a few quality of life adjustments. I like that they added like grapes for Wines of Zami, seeds or whatever. Can we just buy Wines of Zami from there? Like, this place sucks. I still think
That'd be
people are gonna go
great.
to the wilderness bosses. Like, just Wines of Zami are so annoying. I've telegrabbed them in the wilderness, and like I got killed once, which is hilarious. I only lost like 110, but it was so.
I just wish you could like plant a Zamorak grape or whatever. So I've never bought grape seeds there, but if you could just buy them and plant them in like a bush patch, like a normal bush patch, and so you get the Zami grapes from just picking berries from any bush, like you just plant them there. So then you don't have to be there endlessly collecting these seeds. You just get a few of them and then just go around the world whenever you're collecting your berries and just grab 20 of them, bank them, and then you put them in, obviously, a jug later, and you can just make Wines of Zami. Like, that would be amazing.
Yes.
Something that's a little bit more like around the game. That doesn't feel like, I don't know, because I've actually never done the vinery, but I haven't heard it's anything good. So.
Were you a fan of the demonic digger?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, just it was too broken.
I think just what if it was double speed?
I mean, that's what I just want across the board. We don't need a spade for that. I mean, the double speed. Well, right now, allotments and herb patches, we have double speed, and I've been saying this for so long. But like, I want double speed on bush patches. Like, I want to pick berries the same speed. I want to pick my like cactus spines the same speed. I even want them to buff fruit trees and make it so you get more than 6 fruits per thing, similarly to what they did with bushes, where it used to just be 4 white berries you'd get. Now I've gotten like 50 at some point, and I feel like the same thing could happen with like a palm tree. You collect like all of a sudden 30 coconuts, boom, you got it. They can regrow, and you're getting it double speed. And giant seaweed, double speed, that needs to happen. So I feel like they needed to do all this stuff before we ever have some tool that's like speeding it up, because there's already just annoyances. And I think the instant gathering was insane. Like, the instant gathering of like all snake grass is going to just be busted.
Yeah. I think they also patch, the Wooks method with the watermelons or any allotment into the compost bin at the guild.
Yeah.
How you could same ticket. I'm
pretty
sure they patched it.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you can't do it anymore.
I think I remember hearing that. Yeah, that is.
And I was so pissed. It used to make
stupid.
me smile so big, dude. I would always, whenever I was in like a Discord call with a newer player, I'd be like, "Yo, watch this," and I'd do it, and it oh my gosh, it just felt so good. And it was just one of those, like, it just cuts down on this annoying, need to wait to like collect the watermelons.
Yeah, they need to bring that back into the game. That is very unfortunate. I haven't actually collected compost since I remember hearing about that, and I thought it was just going to be a temporary thing. But if it's permanent fix, that's fucked.
It could have been my bad internet at the time, but I sat there for like 5 minutes trying to do it.
No, I know for a fact they did patch it at some point. I don't know if it was just unintentional though. So
this is pretty recent, so I think it's still broken. So
God, that's so bad.
Make it a priority. um, so yeah, that's Tithe Farm. I think it's overall, I think it's I think it's in a good place. I love the colors can and how you can use that at chambers. I freaking love that tech. They're like, why do you have a watering can? I'm like, oh, buddy, let me tell you. um, all right, Trouble Brewing, one of my favorites. We talked about it earlier. This is basically Castle Wars, where you just have a bunch of people AFKing for log spots. In fact, that's exactly what it is. However, when I was there green logging it, there's a community of people who passionately play the game because now you actually get rewarded for like how many of these brews you make or whatever. So based on your team's points, that's how many tickets you will receive. So it's really nice to actually play the game for real, and it cuts the collection log time down into like a fraction if you're on the main world and you're on the team that's winning. So definitely do that. Don't just alt it with one other account. Do it on the main world. I will be transparent. I was a piece of shit, and I just filled in the 100 jugs of water and sat there and talked for 20 minutes. I didn't even talk. I was doing homework on the other screen. But I think Trouble Brewing had this really cool patch where it was like a best in select cooking or fletching or like wood cutting method. I'll let you talk about that because I think you actually did it. I tried it out. I believe it was during leagues as well, and I was playing leagues, so I did it. But I want to see more skilling methods within minigames that don't ruin the minigame. Because I don't want the minigame shifting to like everyone doing this method that isn't the point of the game. But I would love to see some skills that need more love, like, smithing or agility or even rune crafting, whatever, being incorporated into this dead content to make them more appealing. So.
Yeah, that's fair. It was a good thing they nerfed that. I mean, Trouble Brewing was very broken, especially for like early Ironman. Like, holy shit. I jumped from 9 Hunter to 50 Hunter in like an hour and a half while also getting insane. I mean, it was only worth doing it for Hunter at the beginning because...
Was it Hunter? Okay.
It was Hunter, woodcutting, or I was getting Hunter, woodcutting, fletching, and cooking XP. And the Hunter one, basically you kind of just stop doing it around 50 because it is fully linear, meaning like you are jumping 2 levels, like at level 9. Like at level 9, like you just do a little bit of the Hunter method and all of a sudden you're level 11, all of a sudden you're level 13, all of a sudden you're level 14, level 16 levels. It's just like, because it was completely, how do I say it? Like static XP. So it doesn't raise the higher level you are. It's just like completely static. So at level 9, it's just insane. It's just so broken. It's like catching like a red chinchompa. Yeah. It's like catching a red chinchompa like over and over, like at literally level 9. It's just crazy. So, but yeah, the fletching was out of control. It was so good at the time, and now we have the fletching minigame, so it's irrelevant. But the cooking XP was insane. But to be fair, that was definitely wrist-breaking content. One ticking on that little vat over there, but it was still broken, and I'm glad they actually patched it to some degree. And I do agree with you that they can always add little things where it's never meta, but there is some incentive to like go into a mini game and actually feel good about gaining XP. So,
and again, I'm being a broken record, but Guardians of the Rift was like that. It is not meta. It didn't change the meta of rune crafting, but it changed the meta for all your average Joes who hated doing the other methods. It was suddenly a perfect middle ground. So I'd love to see that. And obviously, the elephant in the room, Trouble Brewing, sailing. The problem is the minigame doesn't incorporate sailing at all. So I don't know, but once sailing comes out, I feel like they might want to relook at Trouble Brewing because people want the outfits for sailing. But I think there's something there. I don't know what it is, but that's the obvious, crossover episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, this one I know you're a big fan of, Veil Totems. I don't know if this was your opinion as well, but I I think the XP per hour is too much. I'll say it.
Oh, it's super high. It's so
I think
generous,
it's
like
too
to
much.
the point where it's almost like too fun, just because of how broken it feels.
That makes a lot of people upset when we say that, but I think it's too much, man. Because they instantly say, well, Dragon Darts are 1.2 million an hour, or they're probably more than that, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they always bring that up, and I'm just like, again, it's a bad example, because one, it costs $1 bazillion, and then it's risk-breaking content and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the true litmus test is if Veil Totems was, let's say, 25 or 30% less XP per hour, would people still do it and love it? And I think the answer would be yes.
Yeah, they overshot the XP per hour. I'll admit that too. I don't think they can really touch it now. They still could, but it would just upset people greatly. So, but yeah, if they had just come out with like, if it was 250k XP an hour, it would have been great. Just would have fit perfectly still, and we all would have loved it, because we didn't know how much more broken it could have been.
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you there, but I do like Veil Totems. I think it's pretty chill, it's simple to get into, and it's just kind of relaxing. And I love the little like loot search thing. I love that mechanic.
It's one of the first times I have like been 99 in a skill when the minigame comes out now. Because again, I have a newer account. Well, not really. It's 4 years old, but and I really felt like upset. I was missing out on this content because I don't want post 99 XP yet.
Mm-hmm.
I will, but I got other things I need to do. So I can't wait to go there. But for me, as an already having 99, it feels like a waste for a couple clogs. But I'll be there soon for the clogs, anyways. So okay.
Nice.
Anything else with Veil Totems?
No, I love it.
All right.
Very overtuned, but I still like it.
Yeah. No, I'm in full support, and I love the Auburn Vale or Auburn Valley. I think it's Auburn Vale. I think both, but I just think it's beautiful, so cozy. I know it's a circle jerk, but the art team does so well.
They do.
They've crushed it. So, all right. Last but not least, Volcanic Mine. So for those of you who don't know, there's actually a community of people who do Volcanic Mine on their maxing journey, because it's just under the XP of 3 tick 4 granite, but it is like fun and engaging, and there's like a learning curve, and you have to learn your role, and it's group content. So that part of it I love. What I hate is that it's definitely like the BA treatment, how there's just this really small community, and it's very unintuitive and hard to like understand for your average Joe. Will never, rub shoulders with that content. They're just going to do shooting stars. We can maybe talk about this later. I actually don't like shooting stars, which is a really hot take, but Volcanic Mine, there's a solo method that's just not worth doing for clogging, really. But for XP per hour, it's definitely not worth doing. But there's a team method where you can get like 80, 90, even almost 100k per hour. It's like 95, I think. So I think that's cool. It's basically like BA, but mining. It's also like has some risk to it. If you die, like your stuff goes in a gravestone. Like if you die again, you can lose it, which is pretty crazy. So be careful. But you also you need resources. You need your prayer gear, staminas. I think it's good content. It's just very, very much with like BA like in a weird spot. What's your experience with Volcanic Mine?
Yeah, I feel like anything that's skilling with teammates, I just don't like it when there actually has to be some sort of coordination, because it ends up, I feel like I'm just more of an anxious person where like I'm constantly wanting to go faster potentially, or constantly like kind of overthinking just how much XP I'm losing. If everyone's like, oh, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, let's go. Like, or then I need to take a break, and I'm stressing out about like, I don't want to slow down the team. And I feel like there is just that element of anxiety where I can't just chill and enjoy it ultimately. So I've always sort of resisted Volcanic Mind, but I honestly think it's always been in a pretty decent place. And like anything that's that has actual coordination, there's going to be that sort of elitism, and not even like necessarily elitism, but just the in and the out group. And it makes perfect sense. You don't want to do it with a bunch of noobs. You just want to go with your team that knows what they're doing and, maximize XP per hour. So I think it's fine where it's at.
Yeah. The broken dragon pick from there.
I was just about to say that. That pissed me off. It should just be a dragon pickaxe in my opinion, but I hate the fact that there's a clog that you have to get that's not a dragon pickaxe. Like, it doesn't fill up.
Have you seen the rates for it? And seen how extremely rare it is?
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Dude, it's like, I swear, I think it's like 20 hours on rate, 20 or 30, which doesn't sound bad, I guess. But for a dragon pick, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
But just the thought of going like 2 or 3x and looking at like 40, 50, 60 hours at Volcanic Mine efficiently, right, is nuts. So I think I love that they put it in there. I'm actually kind of okay with the GP requirement, but it seems like bizarre. Like, who thought of that? Why does it need to just be a pick? Make it hard to get, but the fact that it's RNG scares me. It's not like you get points and you buy the dragon pick. You get points to buy the ore sack to get a chance at it. So I'd be fine if it was 30 hours, but guaranteed. But the fact that there's RNG on top is just terrifying. So I also think the Tome of Ash, of Covered Ash, whatever, this farming, it's a spell to like make ultra or super compost. I don't know, it's something like that on the Arceus book, I think. It's just ash covered tome. It's just bizarre. Like, why is this coming from a mining game? And I guess I get the ash and you're the volcano, but I don't know. There's a lot of oddities coming from there. I just think to fix it, I don't know if it needs fixing, but some sort of board where you can sign up for a team. Maybe. I don't think it's gonna fix much, but I also think if you could get the Prospector's outfit like pretty efficiently from here, so you didn't have to do MLM if you don't like it. Yeah, I think that would be better. I believe they do sell the outfit here. I believe. I just think it's like really unobtainable. Like, you'd be crazy to consider getting it there.
Oh, really? Yeah, I can't remember all the updates they've done to like the rewards there, but makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, were there any mini games that aren't on the collection log list that you wanted to go over real quick?
I mean, I know you mentioned like Temperos and Wintertodt as being like kind of boss mini games, but nothing honestly really.
Yeah, we should do them. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, there's nothing that really comes to mind. I loved the Fletching knife, how it buffed Wintertodt. I actually enjoy that. I haven't actually done it, but just knowing you can fletch the stuff faster, and they didn't make an arbitrary nerf to it. I always love that. And Temperos, I'm going to need it for sailing. Apparently, you need like 100 kill count there to get the level 90 sailor partner person. Yep. And I have 0 on this account because I've been waiting the whole time to get a dragon harpoon so I can do the firefighting method efficiently, and I've just resisted doing it. So
yeah. So I have a little bit here. We'll start with Wintertodt. So my RuneScape journey, I had a normal account and a main, as people would call it, and I played that until I killed Vorkath for 50 times for my Vorkath's head, and then I quit. And then I came back and I started in Iron. And the first thing I did, I said, if I'm going to play this game again, I'm going to do an Iron this time, and I'm going to like try to be, I want to get a 99. I don't think I'd ever had a 99 besides 8, I don't know. So I went for, of course, fire making, but I was being a masochist. I said, I'm going to do solos the whole way from 50 to 99, solo Wintertodt, because I want the pet. And if you do 50 to 99, you go about like 40% rate for pet or 30% rate for pet. I didn't get it. but I did spend like over 100 efficient hours doing solos. Maybe it's less than that, like 60 to in that range. And it was like the first really struggle grind because Wintertot solos are like 40-minute minimum, usually more than that if you like mess up. And it's so hard if you like need to walk away from the computer. First off, you can't. Second, you need to finish the game, which is like really difficult to do. You have to run between braziers and like I haven't done this in a few years, but the Wintertot solos were really fun, and you get a ton of construction XP. You get a ton of reward permits. You get 27 per game or whatever. So I love Wintertot, and it's fond in my heart as the first like difficult grind I've ever done. I like forced myself through it because I'm like, if you can't get 99 fire making, you're not built for this game. That's like what I was telling myself. So I finished it. It was a great journey. I was like dabbling into streaming on Twitch at the time. I like the new updates they've done. Have you done any solo Wintertot?
Yeah, no,
I wonder how it is with the new one.
It's amazing. It's really good. You bring in no food and you're just chilling the whole time.
Gosh, that's
and
awesome.
I haven't done it since the fletching knife though, so I know it's even better. So the points are even faster. And
Yeah,
you just
I
stack
used
them
to have
all
to
up. You don't even
ask-
get crates. You just go to that like crate outside and you just stack them up endlessly. It's so nice.
I used to have to like send like a help message in clan for someone to hop to my world to help me finish the game because it wouldn't end. Because I was like, I was out of run energy, low on health.
Yeah, and they keep
walking
burning
around.
out, and it's just like you're actually
Oh
like,
my God.
it just keeps regenning. It's like holy fuck, yeah, that's funny.
What I also love is the world hop method with Wintertot. I don't know if it's still a thing, but there's a Twitch stream that would show the end times of each game.
Yeah,
So you would hop between worlds. Is that patched?
The guy just doesn't do it anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember doing that briefly for a bit. That was back when it was like super OP. And
Yeah.
nowadays, no, solos are just the GOAT. Like solos are just definitely what you want to be doing.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them, but it was kind of painful knowing I was like extending my grind like very significantly just for more rewards. But Temperos, I did get lucky. I greenlogged Temperos at like 2,200 permits. I did like almost all firefighting. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I did like 70% firefighting. And I loved it. It was challenging. There's very strict timings. You can fail, but once you learn it, and you reap the reward because your permits per hour just skyrocket. There's like different tech you can learn with firefighting. I think Temperos, I think the only thing is maybe it's only like 40k fishing XP an hour, but you're getting like 40k cooking as well. I thought that was just kind of, I don't know. I think it's still in a bit of a weird spot where you just get your fishing barrel and leave. But I really grew fond of Temperos and famously went like 2x rate for the, or almost 2x for the Tome of Water when it's useless, but I really wanted it. So big fan of the Tempo Ross.
Yeah, I was gonna say you went dry on that, but you ended up spooning the whole place, getting the pet early. That's
Yeah.
nice.
First unique was like the harpoon. So
hell yeah, that's the dream.
I hope that doesn't happen to you if you wait till you get one to go.
God, that would happen though.
Yeah. But yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. We've covered all this, and one of the things on your sheet was talking about your kind of life and your sort of like religious background, which I'm always curious talking to people that are open for it. So I'm curious if you have a little bit of time before we wrap things up to talk about that.
Yeah. So I grew up with Southern parents and Southern grandparents, and in the South, it's like mostly Baptist. So I went to like Baptist vacation Bible school stuff. And I was like baptized Baptist, but that was weird because I was only down there in the summer. It's whatever. Mostly just like a grandparents thing. And then growing up, my parents were not religious, but if they had friends who were very religious, we would have these periods of time where we went to church every Sunday just so that they could, like, we could socialize and be in, with the friends and the friends' kids. So I was baptized twice, which everyone thinks is hilarious, but I was baptized like Baptist and then Methodist, because that was just the church we happened to go to. And then I also went to Presbyterian church. But ultimately they're all kind of the same to me. I don't want to offend anyone by saying that, but to me, I never, as a young kid, didn't learn the differences or anything. I just went to them because I was supposed to. And I did genuinely, I like the socializing and the lessons we learned, and I have a ton of fond memories doing all that. But I hit this hardcore phase of atheism, like the same age a lot of people do, like, well, I won't say that to be disparaging, but like junior high-ish, I don't know, when I was like going through an angsty phase, I was like, just really like angry at the world a little bit, pretty like dug my teeth into kind of, the Redditor fedora atheist where everything's like an easy argument to win. So I dug my heels into that, some hardcore atheism
You started
for quite a
wearing
long
the
time.
fedoras and everything.
Yeah, a little neck beard and engaging. I loved a Facebook debate, like back when Facebook was for us. But that was cringe. I grew out of that, became a bit agnostic. And then ultimately now I definitely identify as Christian again, but in a very different way from a lot of people. I think when I refer to like God or when I do a prayer, I can directly interchange the word universe and God, and that's what makes sense to me. So if I say like, dear Lord, thank you for my family's health and this food, what I'm really saying is like, thank you, universe, that these people around me are healthy and we're able to enjoy this feast, and like we're in a position to be able to afford a house with, hot food and an oven. Like I don't see it as a human-like figure or a god-like being. I see it as this weird, crazy thing we call life, and like the spontaneous, whatever that word is,
Spontaneous or spontaneity.
Spontaneity that we experience, and the bizarreness of this journey. So, long story short, I call myself Christian. Some people might even argue with that, but I see like God or Jesus. I just kind of change that word out with like the universe, and then base it around this kind of core, these, I guess, principles that are taught in the Bible, but I don't really follow. It's more of like a social thing where I happen to be born in a place that is Christian. So I'd probably do the similar thing if I was, Muslim or any other religion. I don't know.
Okay, so it's kind of like about just the social,
really spirituality, maybe
community thing.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you kind of decided? Because this, I mean, I will say it is very odd. I mean, I know you're kind of saying it would be strange to talk to somebody that's actually Christian, that believes in the resurrection and everything else, and then to have you saying you're a Christian, but you're like, it's just kind of the universe and they're just trying to socialize and stuff. I feel like it's a little different. Do you feel like there's like pressure to kind of conform to some degree? Do you feel like you've ever felt like you're also trying to like please like others and try not to like I don't know, just like
don't want to
cause contention?
You're beating around the bush, but I think you're right on the money. Like I think part of it is like my fiance's Catholic, and going to mass or going to a lot of their events, like I don't know what's going on. And I think that's really weird. But if my parents were Catholic and I was raised and baptized in a Catholic church, it would make perfect sense. And I'm not even that far off. I just need to memorize a couple of their prayers and things like that, and when to say them and the timings of that, But I think part of it is wanting to like conform and like not disrupt. I really try to be agreeable a lot of the time, so trying
Mm,
to like, oh, I'm a Christian too. But I don't know. It is interesting, but at the same time, I think religion uh, can be really awful and really great. Um, so I like being able to play into the great side when I can. Um, so, for instance, my family's very like formal and not um, super outgoing and like trying new things. So having them being able to like tell them, how I appreciate all of us being here together in this moment and like using religion as a vector for that message is like an easy out, I guess. Um, I don't know if any of this is making sense, but it's kind of hard to put into words, but it's more of like a tool to use for good blessings. And um, sometimes I just think it's cool to like pray with your friends like before you eat, just like because life is short. I've lost some friends, and like sometimes you never get to tell them, you love just being there with them and appreciate them, and being able to like pray with them is some people might see as cringe or forced or weird, but I think it's cool to, you know, be intimate and have an excuse to do so.
yeah, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard
Yeah.
you. I mean, I'm sure there's many people that kind of see it the way you do, but none that are as authentic and honest about it as you've been about it. So I'm actually like impressed with like how open you are about sharing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird. To some people, it's probably really taboo, and they probably will have some words for me, and I respect that. But
I mean,
I was just raised not religious, so I kind of had to form my own feelings about it, which is
yeah.
interesting.
I like though that you say, because I think one of my, I I want to claim to some degree I'm spiritual, but I feel like I definitely try to align my beliefs with the scientific worldview. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much atheist, but I'm not going to be that guy that's like, there is no God, because I obviously can't prove it. So, but when things just aren't aligning with what is verifiably like a scientific fact and it's just going against it outright, then it's just like it's conflicting and it just can't work with my brain. But I like what you said about life is short and why not enjoy us, to some people might be seen as like a silly ritual of something where you kind of feel camaraderie with your family or your, friends. And so to some degree, I think the older I've gotten, I am not as like, I guess, confrontational with people that are just enjoying their life, because life is short. People have this one life to live, and it's like, but yeah, I feel like there's that other side of me that I like talking about religion in general, just because I've went through a very like personal experience with it all, and it ended up like damaging me to a large
Yeah.
degree. And so I feel like just being able to talk about it is something that's valuable, even for the people that really do love their religion or really do find a lot of meaning in it. I like just having the conversations regardless, to see where other people kind of fall on the spectrum.
Yeah, and I think this will throw it for another loop, but I don't believe in heaven or hell. I think life's like inherently unfair, and none of us asked for this, and um, things like that. Very kind of atheist coded. Um, but I think in the Dark Ages and stuff, religion was used to I don't know. I don't want to be like offensive, but to answer a lot of unanswerable things and
Oh yeah.
provide solace with people who like we're struggling with the complexities of life. Like we're lucky to be educated where we have like logical thinking skills to reason through things. Um, but way back in the old days when you're just like you just lived to like farm for some lord, of some manor or whatever. I'm sure it was much more difficult to be uneducated and faced with the realities of life being complex. And so I see that part of it. I'll admit, I don't think calling myself Christian makes a lot of sense, but I think I use it as a vessel to share my, spirituality. And I do like there being some like written down beliefs you should follow, of of sins you shouldn't do, but then they all really fall flat when like one of them's bad, like, homosexuality or something. I don't want to be too controversial, but yeah, I think that's one of the places where Christianity really falls short. So, yeah, really weird, complex. I certainly don't fit a mold. That's why I wanted to write it down.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people like me, but you kind of just have to invent your own when life presents things that are kind of unexplainable and unfair. You just gotta kind of figure out how are you gonna cope with it. But yeah, sorry to hear that. I know your experience. I've heard.
Yeah. No,
through your podcast has been quite the opposite. So.
No, I think everyone's just got a very unique view on it. Nobody's view of it's the same. So I like your honesty, though. Like, honestly, this got me. I like how you see it, sort of, and you're very empathetic toward those that are believers, and like there is a reason. I mean, life is fucking confusing. It's absurd. Try to find meaning in a system that's already pretty grounded and has community around it makes perfect sense. So,
yeah.
Well,
I
cool.
still I don't go to church though. That's like when I'm ultimately gonna be I'm gonna be put in a weird position if I start attending church regularly and talking to people. Like, what the hell do you believe?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't think that'll work. But yeah.
Hoyt, I have greatly enjoyed our conversation today. This was awesome, really fun getting through all the mini game talk as well. I'm going to have your links down below. You have just recently started a podcast, as you said in the beginning. I think August 1st was your first episode, and you've done, what did you say, like 16 episodes so far?
Yeah.
So I'll have that link down below. So people that enjoyed the OSRS podcast scene, which, by the way, the official Old School RuneScape podcast has also just started. I think they just released their first episode today. So this is a great time to be following other RuneScape shows. So go check them out there. And I'll have anything else he wants linked down below as well. And if you guys want to support the Sae Bae cast, for $2 a month, you can get your name on the title screen and also gain access to exclusive episodes. There are currently 10 of them, with another one coming this Wednesday. Eevescape will be coming on an exclusive episode. So subscribe now if you guys want to gain immediate access to that. And thank you so much. Hoyt, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you for having me. And this is always like a bucket list for me. I've been listening to you forever, man. So thank you for like hundreds of hours of content. And if you listen to Sae Bae as much as I have, throw him some bones, man. You pay $17 a month for Netflix, throw him $2. But no, genuinely, thank you. What you do for like small content creators is really appreciative, and you are a blessing to the community. So I appreciate you, brother.
That's sweet, man. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
See you.